Today, Manhwa will bring you an incredibly captivating story. In this story, the CEO isn't just incredibly handsome, he's also ridiculously doting. And the female lead? Don't even get me started. She's not only beautiful, but also incredibly cool. At school, she's the top dog, making everyone submit to her. Even in the underworld of hackers, just mentioning her name is enough to make many tremble in fear. Sounds captivating, right? Manhwa would be very grateful if you would support me with a like and a subscription to this channel. Without further ado, let's follow Manhwa into the story. On a beautiful day, our female lead was dreaming a sweet dream when suddenly a torrent of angry shouts erupted. "You lazy, good-for-nothing! Why aren't you up yet?" Suddenly, a pillow came flying out of nowhere, hitting the female lead squarely in the face, jolting her awake from her pleasant slumber. After taking the full force of the pillow to her head, the female lead sat up in a daze, muttering, hello? Who is this? And where am I? Wasn't I already dead?" The person who threw the pillow was none other than the woman who had intentionally switched the female lead at birth, aiming to sneak her own child into the wealthy Chin family. Her name was Tammai. Hands on her hips, she berated the female lead in a voice sharper than vinegar. "The people who are here to take you home are already waiting outside. Hurry up and pack your things. Don't tell me you're expecting me to wait on you. Do you really think you're some kind of princess? In my eyes, you're nothing but someone I can walk all over." The female lead's mind began to clear. Looking around, she was startled, questioning her own reality. Is this my adoptive parents' house? Could it be that I've been reborn back to the age of 17? The day my real parents took me back. Tammai pointed a finger at her face, declaring with smug certainty, "That's right. And let me warn you, you're not going back there to live a life of luxury. You have to treat your sister well. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't be able to return to the Chin family. Do you understand? She tells you to go east. You absolutely do not go west." Got it. The female lead sat there, lost in memories of her past life. Although she was the daughter of a wealthy family, she had been deliberately swapped at birth by her adoptive parents, who constantly abused and berated her. Anger flared within her as she stood up and brushed past Tammai, completely ignoring her. Seeing this unusual defiance, Tammai's voice rose. "You little brat, are you deaf? I'm talking to you." Still receiving no response, Tammai, enraged, reached out to strike her. "You've got some nerve. You think you can rebel against me? Don't think that just because you're going back to the Chin family, I can't touch you." Just as her hand was about to connect with the female lead's face, it was intercepted. The female lead twisted Tammai's arm, her voice ice cold. "You have no right to yell at me." Though in pain, Tammai's shrill voice continued unabated. "You ungrateful wretch. Are you trying to start a rebellion? Don't think that just because you're returning to the Chin family, I can't deal with you." The female lead responded with a swift slap across Tammai's face. "Shut up, you're too loud." Rubbing her wrist, she delivered a chilling warning. "Don't you worry. I'll settle the score for all the years of abuse you've inflicted on me." Leaning in, the female lead whispered in Tammai's ear, "Including what you and your precious daughter have done." Tammai, visibly shaken by the female lead's fierce demeanor, broke out in a cold sweat. With that, the female lead confidently grabbed her jacket from a nearby hook, threw it on, and strode out, leaving Tammai clutching her face in stunned silence. Outside, a chauffeur was waiting. Seeing her emerge, he respectfully greeted her. "Miss, please get in the car." After settling into the car, the female lead, with an air of utter indifference, instructed the driver to proceed. Only then did she have a moment to reflect on her past life. It had begun much the same way. Her birth parents had brought her home, and she had believed she'd finally escaped the mistreatment of her adoptive parents. But reality had been far from her expectations. After her return, her birth parents showered their affection solely on Chin Soru, the daughter they had raised from infancy. They repeatedly favored Chin Soru, causing their true daughter immense heartache. She remembered the sting of their words. "Ching-shi, if you put your sister's name on this painting, we would be so happy. You are our real daughter. We will certainly ensure you also stand on the podium to receive an award." Looking back, she felt a deep sense of humiliation, remembering how she had yearned for their love, how she had used everything she had to help Chin Soru achieve fame. only to be ruthlessly destroyed by her in the end. In her past life, after Chin Soru had dealt her a fatal blow, she had clutched the agonizing wound and asked, "Why did you do this? I gave you everything I had." The venomous Chin Soru, her greed insatiable, had replied, "If you didn't die, half of the Chin family's assets would have to be split with you. Besides, I'm so much more capable. Why should Fu Hanxian like you and not me? I won't accept it. All the best things should belong to me." Seeing the girl's audacious entitlement, the female lead had wrestled her to the ground. "Let me go, Chin Soru. You're crazy." A lighter clutched in her hand, her face a mask of deadly intent. The female lead declared, "Today, even if I die, I'll take you down with me." Then, with a decisive flick of her wrist, she hurled the lighter towards the curtains. The flames erupted fiercely, spreading rapidly in all directions. Just as exhaustion began to overwhelm her, she heard a familiar voice echoing in her ears. "Qingxi, I'll take you away. Qingxi, don't sleep." In that moment, she had vowed that if there were an afterlife, she would reclaim everything that rightfully belonged to Qin San. She returned to the present, finding herself once again at the Qin family home. Following the driver's directions, she entered the dining room. The scene that greeted her was her birth parents and Chin Soru engaged in a display of familial affection. "Come here, Ruru, try this. I made it especially for you." "Thank you, Mom and Dad. You treat me so well." Chin Soru then noticed the female lead's presence. Rising from her seat, she approached with a veneer of politeness. "Sister, you're back. You didn't say anything, so I didn't see you." This two-faced girl was Chin Soru, the imposter daughter of the Chin family. Disgusted by Chin Soru's fake concern, the female lead simply glanced at her and walked towards the dining table, ignoring her completely. Though momentarily stung by the snub, Chin Soru forced herself to maintain her composure and continued to perform for her adoptive parents. "Sister, you must be hungry. Come and eat. Eat more. You probably rarely get to eat such delicious food there," Chin Soru said, piling food onto the female lead's plate. Chin Hai chimed in, "That's right, Sanji. It's not like back in the countryside. You have to adapt quickly to life here." As Chin Soru continued to heap food onto her plate, the female lead pushed it aside with a look of disgust. To the astonishment of everyone present, the female lead abruptly swept her bowl into the trash can. Then, with chilling nonchalance, she declared, "This bowl is dirty." Chin Hai, enraged, slammed his hand on the table and roared, "Chin San, didn't your adoptive parents teach you any manners? How can you speak to your sister like that?" Chin San, the female lead, retorted defiantly to her supposed father, Chin Hai, "I'm someone without parental guidance. So, naturally, my upbringing isn't good." Chin Hai, defeated in the argument, cursed, "You." Then, fuming, he left the dining table, not forgetting to shoot a cold glare at Chin San before he stormed off. Chin Soru, seizing the opportunity to play the innocent victim, cried out, "Dad." Mrs. Chin, equally upset, lost her appetite, stood up, glared at her biological daughter, and then instructed the scheming Chin Soru, "Soru, your sister doesn't understand manners. Help your mother teach her a lesson." "Yes, mother," Chin Soru replied sweetly. She approached Chin San, feigning affection. "Sister, after you've finished eating, I'll take you shopping. Your clothes." She paused mid-sentence, her eyes scanning Chin San's outfit with disdain, before continuing, "It's all right, I'll help you with your makeup." Chin San, thoroughly disgusted by this charade, immediately ripped off Chin Soru's mask. "Chin Soru, now that Chin Hai and Lin Xia aren't here, you don't need to put on this act with me." Her voice was ice cold. "Things that don't belong to you will never belong to you." Chin Soru, dropping the pretense, revealed her true colors. She responded with a sneer. "In their eyes, I'm the only daughter. I'm the only true heiress of the Chin family. You're nothing." Seeing the incessant prattling of the scheming girl, Chin San picked up the glass of water from the table. In one swift motion, she splashed the water onto Chin Soru. With an air of dominance, she declared war. "This time, I'll take back everything that's mine. Whatever you've stolen, I will reclaim." With that, Chin San threw the glass to the floor. It shattered into pieces. As she walked past Chin Soru, she added a chilling remark, "Cherish what you have. It won't be yours for much longer." Chin Soru, feeling her position threatened, clenched her fists, her eyes following Chin-san's retreating figure with undisguised animosity. Chin-san, I won't let you get what you want. Returning to her room, Chin-san immediately sat down at her computer. She began to calculate. To establish her own company, she needed a large sum of money for startup capital. She then realized a fundamental truth. To acquire hundreds of millions in a short period, there was only one way: stock investment. Meticulously, she began to gather information from her memories of her past life. In her previous life, it was she who had used stock investments to increase the Chin family's wealth tenfold, saving them from financial ruin. Yet, Chin Soru had stolen the credit. Grabbing a pen and paper, she outlined a plan for herself. But it doesn't matter. In this life, I won't give her any opportunity. Stock investment also required capital. After considering 4 options, she decided on the 4th. She would hack Chin Hai's accounts. Well then, first, thank you for the gift, Chin family. Lost in her thoughts of getting rich, she heard a noise nearby and looked up. These are your clothes and toiletries. Madam told me to bring them. The maid tossed Chin-san's belongings onto the sofa. Scowling, the maid grumbled, she really thinks she's a young miss. Just got back and already expects to be waited on. She's nothing but a bastard child. Witnessing the maid's condescending attitude, Chin-san stood up and said coldly, "Hold on." The maid, arms crossed, retorted with annoyance, "What? I've finished my work. What more do you want? Am I supposed to kneel down and serve you?" The maid's haughty demeanor vanished the moment Chin-san's hand connected with her cheek, leaving 5 stinging fingerprints. "Who do you think you are to speak to me that way?" Chin-san demanded. "I may have just returned from the countryside, but I am still a member of the Chin family. You're just a servant. How dare you talk down to me?" Chin-san leaned closer, her voice low and menacing. "Tell me," she whispered, "what do you think will happen if I tell Chin Hai about this? Do you think he'll side with his own daughter or with you? Think carefully." The maid, now understanding the true meaning of fear, crumpled to her knees, clutching Chin-san's legs. "Miss Chin-san, please. I don't want to lose my job. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I won't do it again." Chin-san, unmoved, pointed towards the door. "Get out of my sight," she commanded coldly. The maid, her body trembling, scrambled out of the room. Chin-san, her face impassive, tossed her belongings back into her bag. The following morning, Chin Hai, as usual, began lecturing Chin-san. "Chin Soru has already left for school. Sanner, you should finish eating quickly and go too. The countryside isn't like the city. Your grades are already poor, so you need to work harder." Chin-san felt her appetite vanish under the weight of her father's constant pronouncements. Unable to stomach another word, she excused herself. "I'm full," she said, rising from the table. Noticing her simple clothes, Chin Hai turned to his wife. "Didn't you prepare clothes for Santa?" Mrs. Chin replied, "I told the maid to bring them." Chin-san glanced at her mother and offered a curt response. "Ugly." Mrs. Chin's face darkened, clearly displeased with her biological daughter. It was true. Chin-san was nothing like the obedient and understanding Chin Soru. Chin Hai produced a card and slid it across the table towards Chin-san. "Sanner," he said, "there's 2,000 yuan in here. Since you don't like the clothes your mother picked out, go buy some you do like." He thought to himself that Chin-san, having grown up in the countryside, would be overjoyed by such a large sum of spending money. However, her next question rendered him speechless. "Does Chin Soru also get 2,000 yuan for spending money?" Chin Hai stammered, "Well, yes, 20,000 actually." Chin-san laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "So, I, your own daughter, am not even equal to your adopted daughter?" Mrs. Chin, unhappy with the comparison, interjected. "Chin-san, how can you compare yourself to Soru? She has many friends and needs money to spend. You've never even seen 2,000 yuan in your life, have you?" Unintimidated by her unloving parents, Chin-san retorted, "That's not the point. What will people say if they find out how stingy you are to your own daughter? It would look bad, wouldn't it? It would damage your reputation." Irritation flickered across Chin Hai's face. Though displeased, he couldn't refuse Chin-san's demand. "That was my oversight, Sanner," he conceded. "From now on, your allowance will be the same as Soru's." Chin-san, twirling the card between her fingers, pressed her advantage. "The same? What about the allowance I missed out on for the past 18 years? That should be the same as Chin Soru's too." Mrs. Chin, unable to bear it any longer, slammed her hand on the table and stood up. Chin-san, she shouted. Are you trying to take everything away from Soru? Chin-san didn't think her request was unreasonable. If Chin-soru's mother hadn't taken me by mistake, she replied calmly, Chin-soru would be the one in the countryside. None of this would belong to her. I'm just taking back what's rightfully mine. Father, I don't think you would treat your own daughter poorly, would you? Right, Mr. Chin, Chin-soru said, a smugness clinging to her words. Chin-hai sighed, resigned. Of course. I'll give you 20,000 now. The rest, I'll set aside as your dowry. Seeing her objective achieved, Chin-soru turned to leave. Thank you, father. I'm off to school. Chin-san walked past the house, her steps faltering as she stared. I can't believe I've wandered here, she murmured, a flicker of emotion in her eyes. Grandpa Lu, a wave of bittersweet nostalgia washed over her, memories of her past life surfacing. They were the only ones who were truly kind to me in this world, but I failed them. I didn't understand the precious love they offered, and I left. But thankfully, I have a second chance. Wait for me. When I'm strong enough, I'll come find you. A luxurious car screeched to a halt. From within emerged a strikingly handsome man, a CEO with an air of urgency, searching for something unseen. But before him, the street was empty, only rustling leaves and the whisper of the wind. He pressed a hand to his forehead, a question in his eyes. Who is that woman who keeps appearing in my dreams? This CEO, heir to the Fu Corporation, was Fu Hanchuan. Outside the teacher's office, Chin-san was about to enter and register when she overheard a conversation within. Teacher Liang, the Chin family, donated a gymnasium to the school. They've requested Chin-san be placed in Class 1. What do you think? Another voice responded, laced with disdain. I don't want some trash dragging down the class average and affecting my bonus. Could she even compensate for that? Hearing this, Chin-san pushed the door open. She surveyed the room and spoke, her voice calm. Head teacher, I don't want to be in Class 1. She reflected on her past life. In Class 1, Liang Hua, under Chin-soru's direction, constantly made things difficult for me. I don't want to waste my time on people like that. It'll interfere with my money-making plans. The teachers in the room exchanged startled glances, realizing she'd overheard their conversation. Moments later, she was assigned to Class 4. Chin-san, don't worry. Although Class 4's academic record isn't the best, I'll do my best to guide you, so you can all get into university. Thank you, teacher. Chin-san followed the teacher into the classroom. Silence fell over the students. This is Chin-san. She's transferring to our class today. Everyone, please be kind to our new classmate. The class erupted in murmurs, eyes assessing her from their desks. Chin-san is about to enter the classroom. Everyone get ready. The teacher instructed a student. I'll go ahead and arrange a seat for Chin-san. The teacher then left. Chin-san was scrolling through her phone when a boy with red hair approached and tapped on her desk. Activating her Ice Queen mode, she asked, "What?" The red-haired boy bristled at her attitude. Quite arrogant for a new student, aren't we? Chin-san ignored him, engrossed in an online hacking challenge. Her online alias, QS, had just issued a challenge, $10,000 per round. Seeing her blatant disregard, the red-haired boy gritted his teeth. Chin, do you know how things work in Class 4? Seething, the red-haired boy fumed inwardly. Do I look that unintimidating? She's not even looking at me. If she weren't a girl. Chin-san stood up, hands casually tucked in her pockets, radiating an aura of cool indifference. Yes, she replied, her voice flat. Not bad, the red-haired boy thought, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. She understands the rules. Chin-san fixed him with a cold stare, then, with an air of dominance, issued a challenge of her own. Let's have a competition. You choose the subject. Do you dare? And don't blame me if you lose. As soon as she finished speaking, the entire class erupted in raucous laughter. Several boys started whispering amongst themselves. Phone, I think my arm's about to fall off. She actually dared to challenge you. Huh. Chin-san's striking appearance prompted one of them to offer a word of caution. Chin-san, you're pretty, so I'll give you a heads up. Feng is the king of this school. Think carefully. Don't start crying later, okay? The red-haired boy, stifling a laugh, pointed at her. Chin-san, I advise you not to provoke him. I'm a gentleman. I never hit girls. As his hand reached out towards her, Chin-san swiftly intercepted it. Her movements were quick and practiced, her grip surprisingly strong. Keep your hands to yourself, she said coolly. Chin-san tightened her grip on the red-haired boy's hand, twisting it downwards. He cried out in pain, his wrist feeling as if it were about to shatter. The other boys watching paled. Foam! Are you alright? You talk too much, Chin-san retorted, releasing her hold. The red-haired boy stumbled, needing the support of his friends to stay upright. Two boys rushed to help the red-haired youth, who glared at Chin-san, seething. Chin-san, he challenged. Noon, on the basketball court. We'll settle this there. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know who's boss around here. Chin-san nonchalantly brushed off her hands, accepting with an air of supreme confidence. Fine, I'll be waiting for you at the basketball court. Whoever doesn't show up is a dog. She thought to herself, what a bunch of childish brats. The girls in the class gazed at Chin-san with open admiration, their hearts aflutter. Wow, she's so cool, one whispered. She's my idol. A few moments later, the teacher arrived, rapping her ruler against the blackboard. Silence. Of all the classes, yours is the loudest. All right, everyone, look at the board for today's assignment. While the teacher wrote on the board, Chin-san, bored, pulled out her phone. Noticing this, the teacher frowned, assessing Chin-san, another student who doesn't take their studies seriously, playing on their phone in class. With a flick of her wrist, the teacher tossed a piece of chalk onto Chin-san's desk. Chin-san, she announced, her voice sharp, come up to the board and solve this problem. Chin-san's expression remained unchanged. She calmly picked up the chalk and walked towards the board. The teacher's gaze swept across the class, a warning in her eyes. This was the final question on the university entrance exam 5 years ago. It's the most difficult one. If you can't solve it, it's all right. I'm having this student who isn't paying attention solve it as a reminder to all of you. As she spoke, Chin-san was already rapidly filling in the answer on the board. The teacher turned back, stunned. Good heavens, she's writing so fast. This is university-level material. In less than 5 minutes, Chin-san had completed the complex problem. Teacher, I'm finished, she announced. The teacher, utterly bewildered, glanced at the answer. It was completely correct. Chin-san, she stammered, have you already studied university-level material? This is advanced mathematics. Chin-san responded modestly. Yes, I've studied a little. The teacher, quickly recovering, praised her. This is a perfect solution, Chin-san. Next time, pay a little more attention. You must listen carefully during class. Chin-san instantly became the center of attention, the entire class buzzing with amazement. This new student isn't just fast. She's using university-level knowledge. She's not a poor student at all. She's clearly a master. Red-haired Feng scoffed, figuring Chin-san was nothing more than a bookworm. We'll see what I teach you at noon, he sneered. Meet me at the school basketball court. News of the impending showdown between Feng and Chin-san spread like wildfire, drawing a crowd of students eager to witness the drama. Feng bounced the basketball, arrogance radiating from him. Just give up now. Chin-san, he taunted. You'll only lose worse if you don't. Save your breath, Chin-san retorted coolly. Let's just get started. Feng practically choked on his own fury at her defiant attitude. He had to teach this girl a lesson. A student volunteered as referee, placing the ball in his hands before blowing the whistle to signal the start. The instant the whistle shrieked, Feng lunged towards the ball, confident he had it in the bag. Just as he reached for it, Chin-san appeared as if from nowhere, deftly intercepting the ball with a swift, fluid movement. The speed of her maneuver left Feng bewildered, struggling to comprehend what had just happened. With the ball secured, Chin-san dribbled towards the basket without a wasted motion. Lining up her shot, Chin-san's movements were not only graceful, but also incredibly precise. With an almost casual flick of her wrist, she sank the ball, declaring 3 points. Easy as pie. Feng, still seething for being underestimated, thought, 3 points? Let's see if he can actually back that up. Under the watchful gaze of the crowd, the ball swished through the net, silencing his doubts. A wave of astonished murmurs rippled through the spectators. She made it. She actually made it. Feng's jaw dropped, stubbornly clinging to the belief that it was just a fluke. He watched as Chin-san stood at center court, bathed in the cheers of the crowd. Not just the boys, but the girls too, were captivated by her prowess, their admiration evident. She looked like a goddess, radiating confidence and skill. Spinning the ball effortlessly on one fingertip, she flashed a dazzling smile. Warm-up's over, she announced. Let's get serious. No matter how close Feng got, how desperately he lunged, he couldn't wrest the ball from her control. Within minutes, Chin-san had established a commanding lead of 10-0. Feng, of course, held the unfortunate 0. He hadn't even touched the ball since the game began. Watching her effortlessly sink shot after perfect shot, sweat poured down his face, and he felt lightheaded on the verge of collapse. The final whistle blew, signaling Qin San's absolute victory with a score of 18-0. As the crowd roared their approval, a defeated Feng slumped to the ground, drenched in sweat, his energy completely drained. He looked at Qin San with a mixture of fear and awe. Suddenly, in a voice filled with newfound respect, he blurted out, "Dad." Catching her sharp glare, he quickly scrambled to his feet, grabbing a bottle of water and offering it to her with a nervous laugh. Sister San, from now on, Lin Feng, will follow you. My followers are your followers." Accepting the water, Qin San drank it down in one gulp. "I don't want your position," she said dismissively. Not interested. Humbled, Feng, now more obedient than a puppy, started massaging her shoulders. "So, Sister San, what do you want me to do?" "I won't disobey. Just tell me, and I'll do it." Qin San tossed the empty bottle back to him. Before walking away, she paused and said, "I'll let you know. I have to go now." Outside the gates of Qin San's school, Fu Hanchuan sat in his car, reviewing information about her. "Qin San," he murmured, a hint of obsession in his voice. "I finally found you." He smiled, a mixture of relief and anticipation. So the girl who appeared in his dreams wasn't a figment of his imagination. The girl he adored truly existed. Fu Hanchuan, gazing through the car window, spotted Qin San just as school let out. She was standing at the school gates. The sight of her sent a thrill through him. He quickly glanced down, straightening his clothes. Once everything was in order, Fu Hanchuan opened the car door and stepped out. He clenched his hand nervously, then calmly called out her name, Qin San. Hearing her name, Qin San turned her head and saw him. The sight startled her. "Fu Hanchuan, why is he here?" she thought, bewildered. He wasn't supposed to know her yet. How could he possibly know her name? Seeing the tension in her expression, Fu Hanchuan immediately realized his mistake. "I forgot. To her, I'm just a stranger right now. I can't rush this," she scoffed, her fingers flying across the keyboard. A provocative message appeared. "I've looked over your collective achievements. One word, pathetic. No ski whatsoever. I honestly don't understand how you all became renowned hackers. Seems the famed Black Emperor is all talk." She then boldly tagged everyone. "If any of you have the guts, challenge me. Unless you're all cowards, afraid of a newbie like me." The message she just sent was like a bomb detonating. The forum instantly exploded. Her inbox pinged incessantly. Countless challenge requests from hackers around the world flooded in. Qin San smiled, a hint of satisfaction playing on her lips. "Finally, my money-making scheme is in motion." Unhurriedly, she accepted each challenge one by one. Across the hacker forum, comments filled the homepage. "This kid is way too arrogant. Thinks there's no one else in the hacker world. It's been years. This is the first time a newbie has dared to challenge our top hackers. Utterly clueless. Looking at their progress bar, they haven't even broken through a single line of defense. I'm eager to see how they plan to challenge us." Qin San scrolled through each challenger's profile, sighing. None of them are a match. Her hands danced across the keyboard, a blur of motion as she relentlessly attacked their firewalls. Notification after notification popped up. QS has defeated Little Black Hacker. QS has defeated Kita. QS has defeated Kuriko. QS has defeated Noob, and so on. She continued her winning streak, taking down 8 opponents in under a minute, successfully climbing to the top 8 on the server. It had been a long time since Qin San had felt this exhilarated. A genuine smile spread across her face. After a moment, she stretched, satisfied with her work. "Hee 3 million already. I think I'll stop here for today." The scene shifted to a young man, also a hacker, the one Qin San had just knocked out of the top 8. "Oh, come on. My new record barely set and already broken." This disgruntled hacker was Lu Ming, the current top hacker and Fu Hanchuan's younger brother. Lu Ming's inbox exploded with messages from acquaintances. "Your record's been smashed, dude. Aren't you going to do anything about it? Universe's #1 handsome. The fire's at your doorstep. Don't tell me you're scared to challenge them." Lu Ming was still unaware of QS's gender. If he knew the hacker who'd just dethroned him was a girl, who knows how shocked he'd be. "Don't worry," Lu Ming muttered. "I'll make that punk get down on their knees and call me daddy." Lu Ming then began his search for Qin San, eager for a rematch. The self-proclaimed Universe's #1 handsome issued a challenge. "Let's change the game," Lu Ming proposed. "Move the battlefield to reality. Do you dare? You choose the location." Qin San, unfazed, replied, "Sure. Long Fei Corporation. 3 million, all in. If I win, it's mine." Lu Ming, brimming with confidence, quickly agreed. "Okay, let's start right now. Make it quick." And so, the two plunged into a virtual battle, neither willing to yield an inch. But it wasn't long before countless red alerts flashed on Lu Ming's side. He was utterly defeated in a matter of minutes, leaving him practically in tears. Qin San, meanwhile, was filled with satisfaction. She chuckled. Tonight was a resounding success. 6 million added to the account. The incident sent ripples through the hacker community. The universe's #1 handsome, ranked 8th on Black Emblem. Lost? How is that possible? Qin San's mind raced, already plotting her next move. Sipping her cola, she strategized. In my past life, Longfei Corporation used countless dirty tricks to hinder Fu Hanchuan's company. Time to advertise my repair system. I'm going to be the one to earn that money. Back with Lu Ming, he lay sprawled on the sofa, defeated. He mourned the loss of his money. Wow, my 120 million, gone. Unwilling to accept defeat, he sat up, muttering, I'm not giving up. I have to go find my brother. He grabbed his phone and called Fu Hanchuan. Brother, look, your adorable little brother is being bullied. You're the head of Black Emblem. Help me teach them a lesson. Fu Hanchuan took the phone and looked at the screen. He paused, seeing the nickname of his brother's opponent, PS. PS, he thought. That's her. Fu Hanchuan suspected PS was Qin San. Of course, between his beloved and his brother, he would side with his beloved. He handed the phone back to Lu Ming. Deal with your own problems. Lu Ming wailed, Brother, how can you be so heartless? Despite his words, Fu Hanchuan remained suspicious. Qin San is so obedient. She couldn't be QS. I wonder if she's asleep yet. Speak of the devil. A message from Qin San popped up. Fu Hanchuan, are you free tomorrow? Could you use your identity to help me open a bank account? Lu Ming, reading over his shoulder, grinned mischievously. Whoa, so I have a sister-in-law now. No wonder you don't care about me anymore. Annoyed, Fu Hanchuan kicked his brother out the door. Get out of here. Qin San quickly received Fu Hanchuan's reply. I'm free all day tomorrow. She smiled with satisfaction. Fu Hanchuan is always on my side. So sweet. The next day, at the agreed-upon cafe, Fu Hanchuan heard footsteps approaching and turned to see if it was Qin San. Qin San, in a sweet dress, waved. Fu Hanchuan, you're early. He suppressed his excitement. No, I just arrived. He slid a black card across the table. Here's the bank card you need. She accepted it gratefully. Thank you, Fu Hanchuan. You're the best. She thought to herself. This way, Qin Hai won't find out about my money. I need to hide my true abilities until I leave the Qin family. He seemed to understand why she had to use his name to open the bank account. Worried, Fu Hanchuan asked gently, San, do you want to continue staying at the Qin family home? If you want to leave, I can help you. Qin San was deeply touched by his words. In my past life, he asked me this so many times. It's a pity I was too foolish to recognize sincerity from pretense, she thought. Then she answered him seriously, I will find a way to separate myself from the Qin family. He gently stroked her head, comforting her. San, my grandfather and I will always treat you well. She smiled happily, basking in the feeling of being protected. Understand, this scene was accidentally witnessed by Qin Su Ruo, who happened to be passing by. Qin San, she's with a man again? When she got a good look at Fu Hanchuan's face, she couldn't help but gasp at his handsomeness. That high nose, that chiseled jawline. How can a man be so handsome? She bit her lip enviously, thinking, I've never seen such a handsome man. How can someone like him belong to Qin San? Fu Hanchuan was incredibly attentive to his future wife. He gallantly peeled a shrimp and placed it on Qin San's plate. San, eat some shrimp. Thank you, Brother Fu, she replied. Seeing their affectionate interaction, Qin Su Ruo rushed over, intent on disrupting them. Feigning friendliness, she asked Qin San, what a coincidence. What are you doing here? I wanted to find you to go shopping. Why are you ignoring me? Qin Su Ruo then blushed, looking at Fu Hanchuan. Is this your friend? Aren't you going to introduce him to me? Fu Hanchuan frowned, displeased by this scheming woman. Qin San coldly dismissed her. What does this have to do with you? Our relationship isn't good, so why are you acting so familiar with me? Qin Su Ruo was inwardly resentful at being called out so directly. How dare she insult me in public like this? Putting on a pitiful expression, she said, Sister, I know I've monopolized Mom and Dad's attention for over 15 years, and you must resent me for it. But it wasn't my intention. With crocodile tears welling up, she continued, "If you're unhappy, I can move out. As long as you forgive me, I'm willing to do anything." Chin San's face flushed with anger at these false words. Seeing this, Chin Su Ruo was inwardly triumphant. The angrier and more aggressive Chin Sen acts, the clearer her true colors will be to him. Then, this man will sympathize with me and fall at my feet. Fu Hanchuan indifferently threw cold water on her scheming. If you're so concerned about San's feelings, then you should leave the Chin family. Because San doesn't like you. Stunned by his cold demeanor, Chin Su Ruo froze. Don't all men like weak and vulnerable women? Seeing his beloved's displeasure, Fu Hanchuan stood up and suggested, San, it's getting late. Let me take you home. Before leaving, Chin San couldn't resist a parting shot. Chin Su Ruo, do you enjoy acting so much? Aren't you tired of wearing a mask? Chin Su Ruo, refusing to give up, continued her performance. Sister, do you have some misunderstanding about me? Chin San turned back, her expression icy. Drop the act. Stop pretending. I've already said, what doesn't belong to you will never belong to you. Chin Su Ruo seethed, unable to do anything but fume silently. Chin San, what right do you have to mock me? Chin Su Ruo fumed, bewildered by Fu Hanchuan's attitude. And that perfect man, Lu Ming, did he have a problem with her too? Yes, it had to be because Chin San had badmouthed her. Just you wait, Chin San. After returning home, Chin Su Ruo grabbed her phone and checked her balance. Your account ending in 8888 has received 800,000. Your current balance is 6,800,000. Not bad. Several companies had ordered her protection system. She'd made a tidy profit. Chin San descended the stairs and immediately sensed the stifling atmosphere. Disapproving gazes landed on her. It seemed Chin Su Ruo had been stirring the pot again. Sure enough, before she could even sit down, her father, Chin Hai, interrogated her. I heard you were acting intimately with a man. Is that true? Chin San replied curtly, he's a friend. Chin Su Ruo feigned innocence, turning to their father and asking, Father, would normal friends peel shrimp for each other and pat each other's heads? Chin Hai eyed Chin San across the table, calculating. He'd brought her back for a strategic marriage to benefit the company. Any entanglement with another man would diminish her value. The drama wasn't quite compelling enough yet. Chin Su Ruo put on a facade of concern. Father, Mother, I didn't mean any harm. I'm just worried that elder sister will be deceived by some man, that she'll be hurt. Mrs. Chin immediately and blindly defended her favored daughter. Su Ruo, some people won't appreciate it no matter how much you care for them. You're our daughter. You don't need to force yourself to worry about those ungrateful wretches. Ignoring the drama, Chin San calmly continued eating. Chin Hai, enraged, snapped, How old are you? You've barely returned home, and you're already flirting with men. You're still in your third year of high school. Your studies are the most important thing right now. Do you understand? If you don't break up with that man, don't even think about stepping foot in the Chin residence again. Chin San wiped her mouth with a napkin and responded indifferently. Oh, is that so? I'm rather looking forward to that. Before leaving the table, she added with a touch of sarcasm. But Chairman Chin, remember, to transfer my household registration out of the Chin family first, and a formal declaration severing ties, too. Chin Hai, furious, opened his mouth to yell again, but his wife cut him off, urging him to calm down. Honestly, ever since she came back, we haven't had a single day of peace. Chin Su Ruo, having achieved her goal, smirked inwardly. Yes, keep hating Chin San, then I'll be their perfect daughter. Back in her room, Chin San reflected that this charade of familial affection should have ended long ago. In her past life, she'd constantly helped the Chin family with their business, delaying her own career. She remembered how she'd always wanted to develop a fully immersive game, but the Chin family's demands had kept her from completing it. This time, she would fulfill the ambition that had been left unfinished in her previous life. She was the top hacker on Black Emblem. If she could recruit him to her company, he would be an invaluable asset. She wasn't sure she could beat C, but she had to try to find out. A thrill coursed through her as she attempted to access C's system. On Fu Hanchuan's end, red alerts flashed across his computer screen. His brow furrowed in confusion. QS? Why? He quickly messaged his opponent. QS, I'm not sure why you're attacking my network. Chin San, far from panicking at being discovered, felt a surge of competitive spirit. This is the first time in 2 lifetimes anyone's detected my intrusion. See, you truly live up to your reputation. Her fingers flew across the keyboard as she extended an offer. I'm starting a company. Interested in joining? The reply came swiftly, a curt and disappointing not interested. Chin San felt a pang of frustration. Okay, sorry to bother you. C truly is a formidable expert. Looks like I'll have to make him submit to my will. Expecting someone to agree after a single invitation? Too naive. Meanwhile, Chin San found herself locked in a virtual duel with Hacker X. This opponent proved a tougher challenge, seemingly inescapable. You can't get out, Hacker X taunted. This was the first time anyone had managed to trap her. Error messages cascaded down her screen. Hacker C's skills were undeniably impressive. Living up to the hype, Han Chuan murmured, casually sipping his drink as he observed her efforts. A flicker of genuine surprise crossed his face. His own computer began flashing urgent warnings, and his expression turned serious as he engaged her fully. Both unleashed their full potential, determined to win this clash. The battle raged. Chin San pressed her attack relentlessly, while Han Chuan maintained a staunch defense. The fight hung in the balance. In a final, desperate push, Chin San threw everything she had into breaking free from Han Chuan's virtual cage. And she succeeded. A triumphant grin spread across her face. You're good, she typed, but you can't hold me forever. On the other side of the digital battlefield, Han Chuan was struggling. A worthy opponent, he thought, running a hand through his hair. Intrigue danced in his eyes. Could QS and Chin San really be unrelated? Still, she lost to C by a hair. He acknowledged her skill. A tough one to crack. Time for plan B, she decided. Time to meet him. She opened a notebook, crossing out C and replacing it with Feiyuan Technology. The scene shifted to the gates of Feiyuan Technology, now sealed and plastered with notices. A crowd milled around outside. Among them stood a despondent man. CEO Hong, I never thought I'd see you bankrupt, someone remarked. The man was Hong Yuan, the ruined CEO of Feiyuan. From a distance, another man watched with a predatory smile. Du Kaifeng, Hong Yuan spat. Did you betray my trust? Unfazed, Du Kaifeng retorted. You left the company to me. Isn't it running smoothly under my management? I owe my success to you, Mr. Hong. You truly are my benefactor. The man's face grew smug, a smirk twisting his lips. So, it turns out you're Du Kaifeng, CEO of Lin Yu Technology. Hong Yuan, losing his composure, lunged at the man, grabbing his shirt. Du Kaifeng, you're the one. You stole my company's assets and drove me to bankruptcy. Du Kaifeng remened infazed. Hit me, he said calmly. Do you want compensation or jail time? I can arrange either for you. Hong Yuan, utterly defeated, crumpled to the ground. His wife had just passed away. He couldn't let his son lose his father too. Seeing this, Du Kaifeng gloated. Hong Yuan, oh Hong Yuan, accept reality. As long as I'm here, you'll never have a chance to turn things around. Hong Yuan could only bury his face in his hands and sob. His wife was gone. His company was ruined. Turning things around seemed impossible. Suddenly, a hand extended towards him, offering a tissue. He looked up in surprise. It was Chin San. She knelt down and said, Mr. Hong, hello. You're looking for me? Hong Yuan asked, bewildered. He couldn't believe someone would offer him comfort at this moment. About your company, I can help you. Let's talk. She proposed a meeting at a coffee shop. There, she placed a contract before him. I'm Chin San. This is my project proposal. Please take a look. This is COVID? He asked skeptically, picking up the document. As he held the contract, a thought struck him. I can't believe I'm pinning my hopes on a young girl now. I'm probably overthinking this. He looked at the contract pensively. Comprehensive intellectual game. How can anyone create such a game? It's just a pipe dream. Hesitantly, he opened the contract and began to read. This is... He flipped through the pages. Comprehensive intellectual game. Did you develop this plan yourself? The technology too? Yes, Chin San replied without hesitation. She sat calmly, unfazed by his skepticism. He then asked, May I ask how old you are, Miss Chin? Chin San maintained her composure, meeting his gaze. Almost 18. I have the core technology to develop a comprehensive intellectual game, she affirmed with unwavering certainty. She continued, I don't know if you'd be interested in joining my company, Mr. Hong. Her thoughts drifted to her past life. During this time, in her previous life, Hong Yuan had 2 game patents stolen, leading to his bankruptcy. But a few years later, he returned to the pinnacle of the gaming industry. This time, I'll help you take a step further. I'm preparing to establish a game company and need your help as a manager. What do you say? Chin San presented her enticing offer. Hong Yuan, however, remained hesitant and apprehensive. Miss Chin, Du Kaifeng won't let me go. If he finds out I'm working for you, he'll make things difficult for you. He continued, you should find someone else. I don't want to drag you down. Qin San, seemingly having anticipated this, calmly reassured him. He won't bother me. I value your talent. A flicker of warmth and hope ignited within Hong Yuan, as if a comforting hand had reached out to him. Hearing his response, Qin San presented another contract. All right, since I'm not yet 18, the company will be temporarily registered under your name. The company's operations will be entrusted to you. Then I'll transfer the funds to your account. Hong Yuan accepted the contract from Qin San's hand and immediately signed it. Both stood, shook hands, and exchanged pleasantries. Happy collaboration, Chairman. Qin San then left for the stock exchange. The few $100 million she'd earned from the game development deal was just a drop in the ocean. A small smile played on her lips. But I still need more capital. The stock exchange floor was a scene of chaotic energy. Investors anxiously watched the fluctuating numbers on the displays, their worried murmurs filling the air. It's plummeting right from the opening bell. Is this stock even viable? Thought I'd make a killing. Now look, all my capital's tied up. Despite the chaotic atmosphere and the wild swings of the stock price, Qin San remained calmly seated, waiting. The other investors eyed her with a mixture of curiosity and bewilderment. Buying the same stock, and she's as cool as a cucumber while the rest of us are losing our minds. Want to sell now, but no one's buying. Just watching it tank. Suddenly, someone shouted, it's recovering. The stock's stabilizing. As if waiting for this precise moment, Qin San rose and approached a trading terminal. At the computer, she input her desired investment, $250 million. Without hesitation, she hit the buy button. A nearby man approached her cautiously. $250 million? Young lady, this stock isn't worth it right now. The company just had a major incident. It could go bankrupt in days. You'll lose everything. Qin San's expression remained unreadable as she continued her work. She then proceeded to buy another $500 million, again without a flicker of doubt. The man beside her was aghast. He stammered, don't do it. Young lady, where did you come from investing this kind of money? He wondered to himself, utterly perplexed. The surrounding investors began to take notice of Qin San, their whispers growing louder. This girl is throwing money away, spending her family's fortune without a care. She must be some rich heiress. $100 million means nothing to her, right? Buying stock in a failing company? She can't be normal. The crowd pressed closer, their curiosity and apprehension palpable. In response to their anxieties and questions, Qin San offered a simple, unwavering reply. This stock will rise. The crowd was stunned into silence. Isn't she afraid of getting burned? She has money to lose, but we're just ordinary people. We can't afford that kind of risk. The crowd began to disperse. Let's go, let's go. Only a fool or someone with money to burn would buy this stock. We should wait to sell, cut our losses before we lose everything. Unlike the others, the man who had cautioned Qin San earlier was now filled with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. He approached her again. Young lady, how do you know this stock will rise? She turned to him, a cryptic smile playing on her lips. Intuition. The man fell silent, scratching his head. He'd never met anyone who played the stock market based on intuition. Suddenly, a shout erupted from the crowd. Someone just bought 1 billion shares of this stock. The man whirled around, astonished. Only Qin San remained unfazed, walking away calmly. She thought to herself, this isn't gambling. This is my first investment. The scene shifted to Huang Chuan's company. At that moment, an assistant entered the director's office. It was Assistant Lin, Huang Chuan's trusted aide. He looked up and asked Li Long if the task had been completed. Assistant Lin replied that he had followed instructions and purchased 1 billion shares. But even Assistant Lin couldn't help but wonder, but sir, isn't Tang Feng on the verge of bankruptcy? Why did you buy them? Huang Chuan paused his work to explain to Assistant Lin. Controlling Tang Feng, this company, despite its current troubles, possesses strong technology and patents. We now own 35% of Tang Feng's shares, making us a major shareholder. That billion shares is for arbitrage. After receiving a folder from Huang Chuan, Assistant Lin nodded. Understood. I'll go make the arrangements right away. Our CEO is truly shrewd. Just one trip to a room, and he can earn tens of billions. Truly the #1 investor in the financial world. A while later, Qin San returned home. Passing through the living room, she saw her family of 3 watching TV. The evening news was broadcasting live coverage of a stock signing ceremony. The sound of the TV drifted over, catching Qin San's attention and causing her to turn her head. A fruitful collaboration. Xiangdao Group is partnering with the pharmaceutical conglomerate. We will provide capital and technical personnel to Tang Feng, hoping that Tang Feng will experience robust growth in the future. Qin Hai spoke up at that moment. Who would have thought Tang Feng stock would increase 18-fold in just 3 days? I shouldn't have sold. Qin San smiled, looking at her father. As expected, Qin Shiru noticed Qin San. Then, feigning concern for her sister, she asked, "Are you interested in stock investment too, sister? It's not something just anyone can do." But once again, she was ignored by Qin San. Qin San paid no attention to her family and went upstairs to her room. Qin Hai, observing Qin San's attitude towards Qin Shiru, muttered, "So disrespectful." He was already thinking of a plan. Having lost quite a bit in the stock market recently, he decided to bring up the matter of Qin San's marriage. Back in her room, Qin San sat happily, looking at the balance in her account. She was now a billionaire. In 3 days, 1 million had become 2 billion. Not bad. A billionaire already, she thought, chuckling to herself. Early the next morning at school, "Is that her?" Qin San. Qin San walked down the school hallway, preparing to enter her classroom, and overheard the whispers and gossip of the students around her. Yeah, she looks pretty, but who knew she was so loose? I heard Qin San is being kept by an old man. A few days ago, someone even said she was prettier than you. I think Qin San isn't even fit to carry your shoes. The speaker was a friend of Qin Shiru. Hearing her friend speak like this, Qin Shiru feigned innocence. "Don't say that. She's quite pretty. It's just that she's gone down the wrong path this time. Such a pity." Hearing the students gossiping about Qin San, Qin Shiru smiled slyly. "I'm not lying. That man is definitely older than Qin San." Meanwhile, in the classroom, Qin San's desk mate, having overheard the unpleasant whispers and gossip about Qin San, was furious. "Qin San, are you okay? Don't listen to their rumors. My Qin San is beautiful and talented. A wealthy young man would be more than suitable." She continued angrily. Why would she need to find an old man? Seeing her desk mate riled up on her behalf, Qin San couldn't help but find it amusing and playfully nudged her friend's cheek. "So," she said, "you're saying I've been picked up by some rich playboy?" Her friend immediately backpedaled. No, I just meant that you definitely haven't been picked up. I was just giving an example." Just then, Feng Ge chimed in, turning to Qin San. "I believe you. Qin San, I saw those 2 men insulting you earlier. I gave them a good beating." All his buddies chimed in with their support. "Qin San, we believe in you. You're strong and independent. You'd never be kept by some old man." Seeing everyone trying to comfort her, Qin San smiled warmly. "Thank you," she said, genuinely touched. "So this is what it feels like to have friends," she thought happily. Meanwhile, back at the Qin family villa, Qin Hai was berating Qin San. "Stop right there. The principal called me. You have to break up with that man. What will people think? A 12th grader being kept by someone." Qin San responded to his tirade with indifference. After he finished, she turned to him. "You're so sure I did that?" Qin Hai remained adamant. "If you didn't do it, why are there rumors?" Qin San just chuckled softly. "Right," she said. "You've never believed me anyway." "That's true. You've never trusted me." With that, she turned and headed upstairs, leaving him with one last remark. "If that's the case from now on, stay out of my business." Qin Hai, furious, pointed at her retreating back. "Ow," he sputtered. "Could I have raised a daughter like you?" The scene shifted to Huang Chuan's house. He was working when his younger brother, Lu Ming, approached him. "Hey bro, can I borrow your high-spec computer?" "Absolutely not," Huang Chuan replied coldly. Lu Ming's attention was then drawn to his brother's phone. Qin San's picture was on the screen. "Bro," he asked curiously, "do you know that girl? People at school are saying she's being kept by an older man." He then added, "But she's really pretty." Lu Ming suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He glanced at his brother, whose eyes held a murderous glint. He suddenly realized his blunder. Anyone who could be his brother's phone background must be someone he liked. This was definitely his future sister-in-law. "Don't worry," Lu Ming quickly reassured Huang Chuan. "It's just a rumor. No concrete evidence. And she's so beautiful. Beautiful people are often envied," he added wisely. Huang Chuan sighed. "If anything happens to San San at school, let me know immediately." He stared at the picture on his phone, his finger unconsciously tracing her face. Then, he promised Lu Ming, "Take good care of San San, and the computer is yours." Lu Ming, slightly taken aback by the generous offer, turned to leave with a grin. No problem. My future sister-in-law is my new best friend, he thought gleefully. After getting rid of his bothersome brother, Huang Chuan picked up his phone and called Assistant Lin. Since San is being targeted at school, I need you to investigate. Assistant Lin immediately accepted the order. Director Huang, there are indications that Qin Shanrong is involved, but she's being very discreet. I haven't found any concrete evidence yet. Hearing the name Qin Shanrong, Huang Chuan's brow furrowed. Qin Shanrong of the Qin family? Isn't that the land deal? Buy that land. The price is negligible. Yes, Assistant Lin replied. Back at the Qin family villa, Qin Hai had received troubling news. He paced furiously. Chairman Fong, didn't we agree that land belonged to us? On the other end of the line, Chairman Fong retorted, no, contract signed, no sale. I'm not risking offending HD Corporation. You could try negotiating with them yourself. With that, Chairman Fong hung up. Qin Hai, reeling from the rejection, felt a surge of anger and anxiety. It's over. No one in H City dares to cross HD Corporation. But that land is crucial for Qin Corp's expansion. I have to try negotiating. At HD Corporation headquarters, Qin Hai strode in. He presented his card to the receptionist. Hello, I'd like to meet with your director, please. The receptionist replied, one moment, I'll make a call. Qin Hai readily agreed. After making the call and receiving approval, the receptionist informed him, please wait in the reception area. The director will see you shortly. Qin Hai, pleased, thought to himself, the director isn't easy to meet. I can't believe he agreed. 5 hours crawled by. Qin Hai remained seated, patiently waiting. Finally, his patience wore thin. 5 hours. He still hasn't come down. Just then, Assistant Lin approached. Qin Hai, recognizing him, thought, Assistant Lin, so I'll be meeting the director after all. He stepped forward, extending his hand in greeting. Hello, Assistant Lin. Contrary to his expectations, Assistant Lin retracted his hand, offering a curt hello. The gesture stung Qin Hai's pride. He quickly withdrew his own hand. Aren't you taking me to see your director? Assistant Lin shook his head. The director is very busy. He's arranged for me to meet with you. Tell me what you need. Qin Hai pleaded, the land north of the city, the one Qin Corp owns, we desperately need it. Name your price. Anything. Assistant Lin's expression hardened. Chairman Qin, let's not beat around the bush. Your daughter has offended our director. You won't be getting that land. Qin Hai's fachipated. What? Qin San offended the director? After hearing Assistant Lin's words, Qin Hai forced a nervous laugh. I'm not sure what Qin San did. Perhaps I could bring her to apologize. Assistant Lin's face remained stern. Did I say it was Qin San? Failing to grasp the implication, Qin Hai stammered. You mean Shiru? How? He was bewildered. But Shiru is always so well-behaved. How could she offend someone so important? Returning home, he sat lost in thought. HD Corporation stole my land, claiming my daughter offended their director. Overhearing him, Qin Shiru, his younger daughter, turned to Qin San and said pointedly, Sister, you only hang out with the worst students at school. You probably offended someone important without even realizing it. Despite the accusation, Qin San remained unfazed, continuing to eat her meal. Qin Hai turned to Qin Shiru. Shiru, his assistant, said it was you who offended the director. Think carefully. Have you done anything recently? Qin Shiru's face drained of color. She sputtered, what? Dad, that's impossible. Seeing Lin Shuya about to speak up, Feng Gu quickly intervened, soothingly defending Qin San. Mr. Qin, what do you mean by that? It definitely wasn't Shiru. Lin Shuya then turned sharply to Qin San. Qin San, was this you? Did you do this deliberately to frame Shiru? Qin San, who had been busy with something, stopped. Qin Hai said it was Qin Shiru, she retorted, and you still don't believe him? A wry smile touched her lips. She's your daughter. Am I not your daughter too? Favoritism should have its limits. Lin Shuya looked as though she wanted to slap Qin San. Qin Shiru then spoke, her voice trembling with feigned fragility. Father, I truly haven't offended anyone in this matter. Is there a misunderstanding? However, beneath the surface of her apparent fear, a simmering anger burned within Qin Shiru. Recently, there have been rumors about Qin San being kept by an older man. It's impossible. Qin San just arrived from the countryside. How could she possibly know such an influential person? Chin Hai, seeing Chin Shiru's distress, quickly comforted her. All right, Shiru, you need to be more careful in the future. Don't take such risks. Yes, father. I'm sorry. She adopted a pitiful tone, completing the tableau of touching father-daughter affection. Chin San simply smiled, a reaction that further fueled Chin Shiru's resentment. Is she mocking me? Immediately, Chin Shiru continued, her voice laced with false innocence. Father, don't men all like beautiful women? Perhaps we could win his favor. I just want to make up for my mistake. That CEO must be an old man. Just you wait. I'll ruin you so you can never rise again. Chin Hai interrupted her. That's too risky. I'll think of something else. Chin San's appearance, any man would be captivated. It would be a waste to make her a mistress. Marrying her off would be more advantageous. Chin San stood up abruptly. I'm full. You all enjoy your headache. She turned and left, her mind consumed with a single thought, to escape the Chin family as soon as possible. She had to get away from these scheming people. Back in her room, she settled into her usual spot at her computer, contemplating her next move. The gaming company still needs talent. This IU Pei isn't bad, just a bit arrogant and hard to recruit. Maybe I should just send an invitation. Elsewhere, a young man sat at his own computer when a message popped up. Our company is developing a fully immersive AI game. Are you interested in joining us? Let's see if you have what it takes. After receiving the message, Chin San replied, see you at the hacking competition. You're not bad. The young man, whose online handle was IUPay, responded, big talk. See you there. At the hacking competition, Chin San and IUPay faced off, their digital maneuvers swift and skillful. IUPay, brimming with confidence, taunted, this is all you've got? Pathetic. Suddenly, Chin San unleashed a decisive strike. IUPay was caught completely off guard. What happened? He exclaimed. The spectators watching the match erupted in chatter. That speed, isn't that a new record? These two are incredible. Their IDs are from Huagua. They must be Huan Nation citizens. The previous record was 70 levels. This speed has definitely broken through 90 levels. Keep going, Chin San, her teammate urged. Chin San, spurred on by his words, accelerated, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She surged ahead, overtaking her competitor in a blaze of keystrokes. The other hacker, stunned, could only watch in awe. Incredible. Who is this? He muttered. Just as everyone expected, Chin San triumphed. QS wins. QS breaks through 93 levels, shattering the competition record, boomed the announcer. After the match, Chin San shook hands with her awestruck opponent. You're very skilled, she acknowledged. He, completely humbled, replied, you're far more talented. I'm utterly defeated. Chin San continued, you don't need to rush to Black Corporation during the preparation phase. His face fell slightly. All right, he conceded, but you have to tell me who you are. QS, Chin San replied cryptically. Realization dawned on him. QS, Chin San, isn't that the infamous hacker, Black Emperor, everyone's been talking about? I hear they're incredibly arrogant. I didn't believe they were actually this talented. Can I see this so-called absolute intelligence of yours? He challenged. Chin San readily obliged, showing him her work. He was astonished. You have such incredible technical skills, he stammered. Thank you, Chin San replied modestly. Now, he was truly eager to collaborate. Even if you fire me later, he declared, I want to work at your company. I'll even do it for free. Chin San chuckled. I can afford to pay you a little something, she assured him. They quickly reached a mutually beneficial agreement. With a perfect model for her gaming company now forming in her mind, Chin San turned her attention back to the more mundane task of preparing for her midterm exams. The following week at school, the fourth grade homeroom teacher addressed her students. Everyone, don't be nervous. Just relax, she encouraged. From a distance, the first grade homeroom teacher approached, leading her own students to the exam room. Glancing at the fourth grade teacher in her class, she couldn't resist a snide remark. Some people just scrape together anyone for their class. Their average score is bound to be dragged down, she sneered, loud enough for Lu Ming to overhear. The first grade teacher, unwilling to let it go, continued. Being in charge of the worst class is worse than teaching kindergarten. The fourth grade teacher, her face hardening, looked directly at her. Students with good grades and students with poor grades are all our students, she stated firmly. Chin San, having witnessed the first-grade teacher's condescending behavior, smirked. Stepping forward, she confronted the woman directly. "Liang Hua," she said, her voice laced with ice. "You don't deserve the title of teacher." Liang Hua, taken aback, sputtered indignantly. "What did you say?" Furious, Liang Hua grabbed Qin San's shirt. "What do you mean by that? Explain yourself," she demanded. Qin San yanked her arm free. "Get off me," she said coldly. Witnessing the defiant expressions of both Qin San and Fenggu, Liang Hua trembled with rage, her teeth grinding. "Just wait until the exam is over," she thought, seething. "Let's see if you can still smile then." Once all the students were seated, the proctor distributed the exam papers. A collective groan rippled through the room as the students scanned the questions. 2 stars. The first question, "Is this difficult?" "Who wrote this exam?" One student whispered. "This is beyond the syllabus. I am doomed. I'm definitely going to fail." Only Qin San remained impassive. She quickly filled in her answers, and in less than 5 minutes, she set down her pen, resting her head on the desk for a nap. The proctor, passing by, noticed her sleeping but didn't think much of it. Asleep already? There's no way she'll get a good score, he thought, shaking his head. Time ticked by. As the clock ticked down, the proctor's voice cut through the tense silence. "Half an hour left. Make the most of your time. Those who are finished can submit their papers." The announcement sent a ripple of panic through the classroom. Students frantically scribbled, heads in their hands, the daunting task clearly overwhelming them. "With this level of difficulty, who could possibly finish?" one whispered. "Forget finishing early. I'm not even sure I can finish on time." Even the proctor, perched on the platform, was poring over the exam paper, a look of astonishment on his face. "This is incredibly difficult," he muttered to himself. "Even I'm struggling with it. The student scores are going to be abysmal this time." Lost in his contemplation, he was startled by a paper suddenly appearing on his desk. It was Qin San. The proctor looked at her, puzzled. "Is something the matter?" he asked. Calmly, she replied, "I'm submitting my exam." Assuming she had given up due to the difficulty, he said, "Are you sure? You don't want to attempt it further? You don't need the marks." But Qin San simply walked out without a word. Qin Shiru, witnessing Qin San's early departure, felt a surge of anxiety. Despite her meticulous preparation, she now felt a crushing sense of defeat. "I haven't even finished half of it," she thought, her confidence crumbling. How could Qin San finish so quickly? She tried to reassure herself. She must have given up. Her score will be terrible. Yes, that's it. She can't possibly outperform me. Outside the examination hall, Liang Hua, the condescending teacher, happened to see Qin San emerge. "She's already finished?" So quickly, a smug smile spread across her face. "Just as I thought, she's completely incompetent. Her class's average score is going to plummet. Let's see how arrogant she is then." Liang Hua still seethed at Qin San's earlier words. "You're not fit to be a teacher." Unlike Lin Shuya, she continued her internal monologue, whose students will all go on to prestigious universities. The students Lin Shuya teaches will be lucky to even get into college. 2 days later, the day of the results finally arrived. Inside the staff room, the teachers buzzed with anticipation. "Mr. Liang, I hear your class did exceptionally well again. I wish I could teach students like yours," one teacher remarked. "The top 3 in the grade must be from your class again, Mr. Liang. 2 Ishu in first place, Lu Ming in second, and probably Qin Shiru in third." A teacher in a purple jacket turned to Liang Hua, envy evident in her voice. "You're so lucky. That bonus is as good as yours." Preening under the praise, Liang Hua responded with a haughty laugh. "Oh, it's nothing really. Just my superior teaching skills. Let me see the detailed rankings." But as she held the results sheet in her hand, Liang Hua's face drained of color. She stared at the paper in disbelief. "What? 2 Ishu is second in the grade? How is that possible? If 2 Ishu isn't first, then who is?" The teacher in purple chimed in, equally perplexed. "Not class 1, not class 2, or 3 either. Could it be class 4? She suggested, then immediately dismissed the idea. Impossible. Class 4 is notoriously the worst performing class in the school. It can't be. The 3 teachers huddled together, scrutinizing the results sheet. At the top of the list, in first place, was none other than Qin San. Liang Hua refused to believe it. Perfect score across all subjects, ranked first. Impossible. Qin San must have cheated on this exam. Liang Hua, fuming, clutched the exam results in her hand, ranting as she stormed off. "I have to go talk to the principal." Meanwhile, In the principal's office, Liang Hua slammed the results down on the desk, her voice sharp with accusation. Principal, Qin San is a poor student from the countryside. How could she possibly come here and immediately top the class? She must have cheated. Standing behind her were Qin San herself and Mr. Liang, the proctor who had overseen the exam. Mr. Liang stepped forward, countering Liang Hua's accusations. Principal, I proctored Qin San's exam. She didn't engage in any cheating whatsoever. Liang Hua stubbornly pressed on. Just because she didn't cheat in the exam room doesn't mean she didn't cheat. She could have known the content beforehand, had someone else do it, or found the answers online. The principal, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face, looked at Liang Hua and asked, Ms. Liang, do you have any proof that Qin San cheated? At this, Liang Hua jabbed her finger repeatedly at the stack of exam papers on the desk. Principal, her answers are identical to the answer key. If she didn't cheat, how could she possibly have done this? Someone like this can't be let off easy. You must expel her to set an example for the other students. With that, Liang Hua turned to Qin San, mouthing the words, dare to cross me, and you're finished. Qin San smirked, a hint of mockery in her eyes, and replied aloud, who's finished is yet to be seen. She thought to herself, I can't believe she fell for my trap so easily. She stepped towards the principal's desk, intent on clarifying the situation. Principal, if I didn't cheat and Ms. Liang is falsely accusing me, how will you handle it? The principal responded seriously. I will deal with it sternly and ensure justice is served. Hearing the answer she wanted, Qin San, feeling a surge of triumph, folded her arms and proposed, in that case, I'll retake the exam right here, right now, to prove my innocence. Seeing Qin San's confidence, Liang Hua stepped forward, her voice dripping with sarcasm. If you can truly prove your innocence, I will apologize to you in front of the entire school. She paused, a malicious glint in her eyes, before continuing, but if you are cheating, don't blame me for expelling you with this stain on your record. No high school will accept you then. Qin San met her gaze, unwavering. Fine, I accept. I propose the questions be set right here, right now, to prevent Ms. Liang from thinking I had a sneak peek. The principal nodded and gave the order. All right then, teachers of each subject, please prepare new exam questions. Qin San received the papers and sat down, focusing intently on each question. Liang Hua stood behind her, watching her every move, unwilling to miss a thing. Just try and cross me. You're overestimating yourself. These are questions we teachers compiled after extensive research. They're all incredibly difficult, even harder than the previous exam. Even I couldn't solve them. Let's see how smug Qin San is then. While Liang Hua reveled in her supposed cleverness, Qin San put down her pen and turned around, papers in hand. I'm finished. Liang Hua thought to herself, if Qin San actually managed to do it, I'll quit teaching. But reality hit her like a ton of bricks. She looked at the answers, her blood running cold. How is this possible? Qin San had answered every single question correctly, not a single mistake on any of the papers set by the 4 teachers. Moreover, she had completed them with lightning speed, leaving everyone stunned and speechless. After Qin San finished the exam, the principal sat back in his chair, his expression serious. All right, now that the exam is complete, announced Qin San's scores. The teachers' voices echoed one after another. Maximum score in literature. Maximum score in physics. Maximum score in mathematics. Maximum score in chemistry. Ms. Liang Hua, though reluctant, had to announce the results. A perfect score in English as well. The principal fixed her with a stern gaze. Ms. Liang, what do you have to say now? Ms. Liang Hua, unable to meet the principal's eyes, her face darkening, stammered, in nothing. Nothing at all. Qin San, standing nearby, a triumphant smile playing on her lips, mouthed the words, "You're finished now," taunting Ms. Liang Hua. It was at this moment that Ms. Liang Hua realized she had fallen in a Qin San's trap. I see now, this was a trap Qin San laid just for me. Having achieved her goal, Qin San, no longer wishing to linger, turned to leave. Principal, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Reaching the door, she glanced back, reminding Ms. Liang Hua, don't forget your apology. The principal immediately replied, don't worry, Qin San. As a teacher, I keep my word. He then turned to Ms. Liang Hua, his voice laced with a threat. Ms. Liang, do you agree? Ms. Liang Hua, now truly afraid, beads of sweat forming on her brow, bowed her head. Yes, Principal, you are absolutely right. But inwardly, she seethed, it's all Chin-san's fault, that little wretch. She's made me lose so much face. Returning to her own classroom, she unleashed her fury on her students. Stop everything. You're supposed to be the best students in the 12th grade of H City High, but look at these dismal exam results. Are you ignoring everything I say? How could you let a 4th grader like Chin-san take first place? Her words sent a ripple of shock through the classroom. What? Chin-san from the 4th grade got first place? Even Chin-shiru couldn't believe her ears. How is this possible? Chin-san has always had terrible grades. I made fun of her for it so many times. The 4th grade? How could she possibly have achieved first place? Unable to accept the results, Chin-shiru raised her hand. Excuse me, teacher, but I know Chin-san's academic performance isn't that good. Is there a problem? Did she cheat, perhaps? This question ignited Ms. Liang, who was already simmering rage. She flung a stack of papers at Chin-shiru's face, venting her frustration. Rest assured, she didn't cheat. As for you, Chin-shiru, your performance this time was abysmal. 11th place. You should reflect on your own shortcomings and forget about the math competition. You won't be participating in any future competitions either. Chin-shiru, clutching her face, dared not retort, but thought bitterly, if it weren't for Chin-san's return, I wouldn't have to endure this. Why does she always have to steal everything that belongs to me? No school competitions for me? Fine. At least I still have the external art competition. Once I win an award and bring honor to the school, I'll see how Chin-san can compete with me. That evening, at the Chin residence, Chin-san was diligently working on a drawing in her room when her phone rang. I'm sorry to bother you so late. Are you free this weekend? If so, would you like to come over to my place? Grandpa says he misses you very much. A voice on the phone chirped. Chin-san readily agreed. That's fine. I have a few things I'd like to ask his opinion on anyway. That weekend, Chin-san went to visit her grandfather as planned. He was overjoyed to see her, taking her hand and leading her inside. Ah, San-san, you finally came to see this old man. I missed you so much. She settled onto a chair and pulled out her iPad, displaying a new artwork. Grandpa, this is the painting I'm planning to submit to the H City Art Competition. It's not finished yet. I've only done a rough sketch on the tablet. Would you mind taking a look? Her grandfather's eyes widened in surprise. Oh, San-san, you paint too. He took the iPad with delight, putting on his reading glasses. Finally, something I can help San-san with. When it comes to painting, I still have quite a reputation in the business world, you know. Fu Han-xian, catching sight of the painting, felt a jolt of recognition. He had seen this image before. This painting was identical to a scene from his dreams. How could Chin-san have painted this? After studying the image, her grandfather offered his critique. San-san, your skill is remarkable. Even this old man has to admit he's not your equal. There are just a few points I'd like to suggest. This area here feels a bit heavy and oppressive. Perhaps you could add a window to let some light in to bring in a touch of hope. Chin-san listened gratefully. Thank you, Grandpa. I've been pondering that for a while, without finding a solution. Your guidance makes it clear instantly. San-san, you have a real gift for painting. If there's anything you're unsure about, come and see me anytime. Her grandfather patted her head affectionately. I may not have many talents, but when it comes to painting, I'm better than many domestic artists. Calling me master wouldn't be an exaggeration. Yes, Grandpa, Chin-san replied, as long as you don't mind me bothering you. Ah, it's getting late. Let me see you out. As Fu Han-xian drove, his mind raced with questions about the painting. He couldn't help but ask, San-san, where did you get the inspiration for that painting? Her voice was subdued as she answered, I dreamed it. It was a very long dream. It was like seeing everything that happened in my past life. Fu Han-xian was startled, but he pressed on. Can you tell me about your dream? Of course, she replied. In the dream, I lived on a dilapidated farm. Her voice was filled with a deep sadness as she poured out the story of her past life to him. As he listened, Fu Han-xian glanced at her, his eyes filled with compassion. He had dreamt a similar dream, only it was more detailed and vivid than what she described. But Chin-san's account, even in its brevity, was heartbreaking. Seeing her tremble, he reached out and placed his hand over hers, as if to share his warmth and comfort her. and wanted to reassure her, to let her know he was there for her now. Then, with a serious expression, he uttered the words, "Whether those dreams are real or not, I will protect you for the rest of my life." The next morning, Chin-san, looking incredibly stylish and confident in a white outfit, was on her way to the company she had recently acquired. As she walked, she called Fu Hanxian, registering the company. "Thankfully, you helped me. Fu Hanxian, I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart." Fu Hanxuan's voice, filled with affection, replied, "Chin-san, between us, there's no need for thanks." Chin-san walked a little further and arrived at her company building. She looked up at it, her heart overflowing with emotion. The company is finally established, but this is just a workplace. My goal is to build the headquarters in D-City. Inside the company, the young hacker Chin-san had previously recruited had arrived for their scheduled meeting. Full of curiosity, he asked, "Manager Hong, what does your boss look like? Are they middle-aged? Or someone with a beer belly like Chan?" Manager Hong, amused by the young man's imaginative description, chuckled and replied, "Haha, you'll see for yourself in a moment whether they have a beer belly like Chayan or not." Seeing Chin-san enter, Manager Hong stood up and greeted her. "The boss is here." The young hacker, seeing that the person who walked in was a young woman, practically still a teenager, stood up and teased, "Little girl, you came alone? Where's your dad? Don't tell me he's hiding from me because he's scared." Hearing the young man's flippant and nonsensical remarks, Chin-san stood silently, looking at him with a puzzled expression. Manager Hong, stifling a laugh, walked over, patted the young man on the shoulder, and said, "Ahem, she is the boss." Hearing Manager Hong's words, the young man froze, as if turned to stone. A moment later, his eyes wide with disbelief, he stammered, "Oh my God, you're not joking, are you?" Chin-san stepped forward and extended her hand in greeting. "Hello, I'm QS. We met at the hacking competition last time. It was an honor breaking that record with you." The young man, startled back to reality by Chin-san's mention of her alias, QS, shyly extended his hand. Hello, I'm Yubei. You completely crushed me at the hacking competition." Inwardly, he marveled at the skill of this composed young woman. He couldn't believe his legendary hacking prowess had been so thoroughly dismantled by a girl who looked barely old enough to drive. It was a truly devastating defeat. Chin-san pulled a USB drive from her pocket and tossed it to Yubei. "This contains the core technology for the intelligent, immersive game. Take it and study it carefully." Hearing that it held the core technology, and without a shred of doubt about Chin-san's integrity, Yubei immediately accepted the drive. This simple act of trust further elevated his already high opinion of her. He clutched the USB drive, his eyes gleaming. Okay, boss. I'll get right to work." Once they were alone, Manager Hong voiced his concerns. "Boss, although our company registration was successful regarding the financial shortfall, he didn't get to finish." Chin-san cut him off with a reassuringly firm tone. "Manager Hong, don't worry about the finances. I'll handle it." Leaving the company, Chin-san quickly headed to her next appointment. At a cafe, a man was already waiting. This man, Feng Suo, was the president of Fengsher Film Company. Seeing Chin-san approach, he unceremoniously pulled out a chair and sat across from her. With a slightly annoyed expression, Feng Suo spoke. "Miss, I think you have the wrong table. Someone's sitting here." Chin-san sat down, crossed her legs, and confidently replied, "Don't worry, I'm in the right place." "Hello, President Feng. I'm Chin-san, the one who scheduled this meeting." Feng Suo hadn't expected the person he was meeting to be such a young, seemingly inexperienced woman. Disappointed, he stood up, struggling to contain his frustration. "Are you the one who claimed to have a way to save Fengsher?" "Look, miss, I don't have time for games." Across from him, Chin-san remained unfazed by his hostility. With a blend of confidence and a touch of arrogance, she responded, "President Feng, as I said, I'm certain I can revive your company, even take it to greater heights than before." She handed him a stack of documents. "I imagine, President Feng, since you're already here, you wouldn't mind sparing a few minutes, would you? If you're not too busy, take a look at my proposal before you decide to dismiss me. It won't hurt, right?" Feng Suo took the documents and, upon opening the first page, found himself unable to stop reading. A glimmer of hope flickered within him. This document was a lifeline for his struggling company. The plan encompassed all aspects of company management and cinema operations, and it was incredibly insightful. He believed that if he followed her plan, his company could indeed be revived. Feng Suo handed the documents back to Chin-san. Instead of leaving, he sat back down. "Miss Chin, I don't know what you want from my company. As you know, we're in a difficult situation. So, as much as I'd like to, I don't have the funds to collaborate with you. Seeing everything unfold according to her plan, Chin-san confidently made her proposition. It's fine. After your film, Fleeting Dreams, premieres, I want 5% of its revenue. She made this demand, recalling a specific detail from her past life. After its premiere, the film Fleeting Dreams exploded at the box office, raking in a successful $4.5 billion in revenue. So, as long as Fong Suo agreed this time, she was sure to profit. Hearing Chin-san's proposal, Fong Suo froze, lost in thought. Fleeting Dreams, huh? It was a new director's work, and everyone in the industry had underestimated it. The film had been shelved by the company for a year. Chin-san saw the doubt in Fong Suo's eyes. She added, President Fong, just make sure it gets plenty of screenings. I believe your company will be pleasantly surprised. It's a win-win situation, really. Fong Suo immediately agreed to Chin-san's request. Okay, deal. No problem, CEO Chin. Happy to collaborate. He thought to himself, this plan is worth much more than Fleeting Dreams. I have to get my hands on it. Chin-san extended her hand in return. I hope we have a fruitful partnership. Time flew by, and a week passed in a blink. Finally, following Chin-san's instructions, Fengsher Corporation released Fleeting Dreams in theaters. At the same time, their competitor, Flying Dragon Pictures, also released their film, Storm Cloud 6. At the Fengsher office, Fong Suo was on pins and needles. He constantly checked his phone, monitoring the box office numbers. Seeing the figures, he couldn't help but sigh. The pre-sale tickets for Fleeting Dreams are only 1/6 of Storm Cloud 6. However, he continued, the reviews for Fleeting Dreams are better than Storm Cloud 6. There's still hope. I hope everything goes smoothly, as Chin-san said. Outside, his secretary rushed in, phone in hand, and announced breathlessly, President Fong, the internet trolls. The internet trolls. Seeing his secretary's frantic state, Fong Suo had a sinking feeling. Could Flying Dragon have hired trolls to smear Fleeting Dreams? We don't have enough money to hire our own trolls to control the reviews. Disappointment and frustration warred within him. Could we really lose to Storm Cloud 6 this time? His secretary shook his head and excitedly showed his phone to President Fong. It's not like that, President Fong. It's that the competition can't post negative reviews. It was utterly bizarre. While Fengsher was celebrating, chaos reigned at Flying Dragon Pictures. CEO Lee Yong-yen, seeing the unfavorable situation, slammed his hand on the table and yelled at his employees, Didn't I tell you to manipulate public opinion and smear their film? Why haven't you done it yet? An employee, holding a laptop, nervously explained, sweat beading on his forehead. It's not like that. So, Lee, we've encountered a strange problem. We can't post any negative comments. The enraged CEO Lee slammed his fist on the table again. I don't care. Figure out. If you can't solve this, don't bother coming to work tomorrow. The three employees, seeing the tense situation, were drenched in sweat and quickly scrambled to find solution. Back at Fengsher Corporation, Fong Suo's face was grim. His secretary, seeing his expression, elaborated on the situation. They post a comment and it immediately disappears. It's so strange. Moreover, our pre-sale tickets for Fleeting Dreams for tomorrow have surpassed Storm Cloud 6 by more than 10 times. Fong Suo was stunned. Chin-san's image suddenly flashed in his mind. Could it be her? Filled with suspicion, he immediately called her to probe. Miss Chin, are the online comments you're doing? Fong Suo asked, his voice tight with a mixture of awe and apprehension. On the other end of the line, Chin-san didn't bother with pretense. Yes, she admitted, her tone calm and collected. I just employed a little trick to prevent them from posting those slanderous reviews about Fleeting Dreams. Don't worry, I have a lot of faith in your film. His secretary, still buzzing from the rapidly climbing ticket sales, chimed in excitedly. Fleeting Dreams looks like it's going to be a huge hit. Fong Suo was about to hang up, but a shiver still ran down his spine. I definitely can't afford to offend Chin-san in the future, he thought. This woman's power is something to be reckoned with. The scene shifted to the Fu family villa. Fu Han-chuan strolled inside, browsing the day's trending news on his phone. Xian mentioned wanting to invest in this film. He mused. I didn't expect it to become this popular. Looks like she's about to become a little rich lady. He smiled, thinking about his brilliant future wife, when a roar shattered the quiet. Fu Han-chuan, you're half an hour late. You got a lot of nerve, making the whole family wait for you to eat dinner. Hearing the familiar nagging, his expression hardened, reverting to his usual aloof demeanor. As far as I recall, I didn't ask anyone to wait, he retorted coolly. Mr. Fu, his father, was instantly enraged. You ungrateful wretch. Do you even have any respect for the Fu family? Fu Hanchuan, unfazed by his irresponsible father, shot back. I should ask you, do you even consider me your son? Abandoning your wife and child to marry that low-class mistress. Do you even have a right to call me ungrateful? His stepmother, feigning a wounded expression, leaned against Mr. Fu, seeking his protection. Her performance successfully widened the rift between father and son. Mr. Fu slammed his hand on the dining table, furious. Fu Hanchuan, apologize to your mother. Right now. Ignoring his father's outburst, Fu Hanchuan fixed them both with an icy glare. His gaze was colder than ice. Seeing the tension escalate, Grandfather Fu slammed his own hand on the table and rose to his feet. Apologize? For what? Hanchuan is absolutely right. A cheap bar girl doesn't deserve to step foot in the Fu family home. Grandfather Fu, referring to Fu Hanchuan's stepmother, glared at his son. Besides, he continued, his voice sharp, have you ever cared for Hanchuan? You have no right to call him ungrateful. Grandfather Fu softened his expression and walked over to his grandson, placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. Hanchuan, come sit with me. His stepmother, ever the picture of saccharine innocence, attempted to defend her husband. Father, Hongi actually cares deeply for Hanchuan. It's just that he's usually so busy with work that he doesn't have time to check in on him. Grandfather Fu's face darkened. The Fu family's affairs are none of your concern, he snapped. Chastened by his tone, she fell silent. Grandfather Fu turned back to Fu Hanchuan, his expression softening into a warm smile. Hanchuan, how's work been lately? Keeping busy. Fu Hongyi, harboring a deep resentment for his eldest son, scoffed and interrupted. What kind of decent work could he possibly do? He spends all day lounging around at home or visiting the Liu family. If it weren't for his status as the young master of the Fu family, he'd be begging on the streets. Seeing his good-for-nothing son interrupt again, Grandfather Fu roared, Enough! Quiet! Grandfather Fu's nip. Then, placing a hand on Fu Hanchuan's, he softened his tone and offered, Hanchuan, if you're not busy at the moment, why not come work at our company? I'll make you the CEO. What do you say? Fu Hanchuan's stepmother's face twisted with displeasure at the suggestion. Pouring on the false concern, she added her own biased commentary. Hongyi, giving him the CEO position is pointless. It would be better to give it to Minghuk. Though inwardly pleased, she continued her theatrical performance, feigning concern. Hongyi, dear, don't say that. Grandfather Fu, interrupted yet again, exploded. Damn it, you care so much for Minghuk. But is Hanchuan not your son too? He glared at Fu Hanchuan's father. Hongyi, let me tell you, they're both your sons. You cannot favor one over the other. Fu Hanchuan, utterly disgusted by the charade, responded with cool indifference. Grandfather, I won't go. Grandfather Fu, his plans thwarted, tried a gentler approach. Hanchuan, he coaxed. If you agree to work at the company, you can name your price. Anything. I'll agree to it. Grandfather Fu's reasoning was simple. Only Fu Hanchuan could salvage the company. He couldn't afford to let him leave the Fu family. Hearing the offer of any price, Fu Hanchuan decided to test the old man's sincerity. What if I want all the shares of everyone in the Fu family? He asked, his voice laced with challenge. Grandfather Fu froze, his mind racing. He had only wanted to exploit Fu Hanchuan's abilities, not relinquish any actual power. Fu Hanchuan, seeing the hesitation, knew the answer. A sardonic edge crept into his voice. So, you want me to save Fusher Corporation, but you're not willing to give up anything? How amusing. That's not how business works, grandfather. The thinly veiled mockery wiped the conciliatory expression from Grandfather Fu's face. Fu Hanchuan, he barked, you are a member of the Fu family. You have an obligation to help the company. You have no right to refuse. Fu Hanchuan stood up, his face a mask of cold fury. Oh really? He asked, his voice dangerously low. Has the Fu family ever treated me like one of its own? His icy gaze swept across the faces at the table. You are the family. I am nothing but an outsider who shares your blood. A heavy silence descended upon the dining room. No one dared to challenge him. Disgusted by their hypocrisy and the futility of the situation, Fu Hanchuan turned to leave. I won't disturb your family dinner any longer, he said, his voice devoid of emotion. Goodbye. Fu Anchuan. Grandfather Fu roared, slamming his fist on the table. If you walk out that door, don't ever come back. Fu Hanchuan didn't hesitate. Is that so? He replied, his voice glacial. I couldn't ask for more. And with that, he walked out. Grandfather Fu, trembling with rage, collapsed back into his chair, speechless. Yu Fu Minghuk, seizing the opportunity to play the dutiful son, rushed to his grandfather's side with medication and water. Grandfather, don't be angry, he said, feigning concern. Take your medicine. He then added, with false understanding. He'll understand your hardship eventually. And then, naturally, he'll come to the company and lend a hand. Grandfather Fu's fondness for his other grandson grew with these words. Minghuk, if your brother understood my intentions even half as well as you do, I wouldn't have to worry so much. Fu Minghuk seized the opportunity, crouching down and looking at his grandfather with feigned sincerity, continuing his performance. All it will take is for elder brother to face some difficulties out there. Then he'll understand how important the Fu family support truly is. Grandfather Fu quickly fell for Minghuk's manipulative scheme. He snorted in agreement. You're right. Without the Fu family, how could he live so comfortably? A sinister smile spread across his face as he made his decision. I want him to know that no one but the Fu family can help him. Having decided, he immediately turned to instruct Fu Minghuk. Use the company's official website to announce to everyone that from today onwards, the Fu family will no longer manage anything related to Fu Hanchuan. Fu Minghuk, his goal achieved, felt a surge of triumph, but maintained a facade of concern. Grandfather, I don't think this is a good idea. Grandfather Fu cut him off. Say no more. Just do as I say. Yes, Grandfather, Minghuk replied, bowing his head with a sly, barely concealed smirk. With his objective of isolating Fu Hanchuan accomplished, he returned to his office, put his feet up, and barked orders at his subordinates. Quickly post on Weibo and inform everyone that Fu Hanchuan has severed ties with the Fu family. Hanging up, he gloated, thinking that merely spreading the news that the Fu family was no longer supporting Fu Hanchuan wouldn't change his life much. Only by severing ties completely will the world turn its back on him. That's my true goal. Only then will Fu Hanchuan's life truly become difficult. I want everyone to know that I am the only true young master of the Fu family and the sole heir to the Fu Corporation. Yes, this position can only belong to me, Fu Hanchuan. I will forever keep you beneath my heel. He burst into laughter, reveling in his perceived victory. The next day at school, as the bell rang 3 times, ring, 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 the teacher addressed the students. Tomorrow there will be a parent-teacher meeting. Remember to tell your parents to attend on time. If there are no questions, class dismissed. The classroom erupted in a cacophony of groans and complaints. Why do they insist on having parent-teacher meetings every few weeks? Seriously, parent-teacher meetings are a student's worst nightmare. A red-haired youth propped his chin on his hand and sighed dramatically. I'm doomed. My dad's going to kill me. Another student abruptly stood and approached Chin-san's desk, curiously inquiring about her family situation. Chin-san, your parents must be thrilled to come to the parent-teacher meeting knowing you got first place, right? Chin-san, anticipating this question, responded with a firm, they won't be coming. Chin-san had just arrived home, not long after Chin-soru. Inside the living room, their mother was busy selecting an outfit for tomorrow's parent-teacher meeting. Seeing Chin-soru, she called out, Ruru, tomorrow, Mom will go to school with you. The teacher will definitely praise you again. Come here quickly and help me decide which outfit looks best for the parent-teacher meeting. Chin-soru, her face tense, felt a pang of guilt about what had happened at school earlier that day. She simply replied, Mom, they all look beautiful. Chin-soru then cautiously inquired, by the way, Mom, you're going to the parent-teacher meeting for me tomorrow, so Dad is going to the meeting for my older sister, right? At the mention of Chin-san, their mother's expression quickly soured. Her grades are so poor, your father and I won't be attending her parent-teacher meeting. Going would only bring shame upon ourselves. Their father, who was reading the newspaper, chimed in, addressing Chin-san as she climbed the stairs. Sanhee, I won't be attending your parent-teacher meeting this time. I have some urgent business at the company tomorrow, and your mother is already going to Ruru's meeting. So, be a good girl and sit there by yourself tomorrow, and don't cause any trouble. Chin-san looked at the 2 people who were her parents in name only and gave a cold laugh. A sardonic smile twisted her lips. Oh, I see. It seems that only Chin-soru is your daughter. Her mother bristled. How dare you talk back to me? Chin-san, can't you be more understanding? Ruru is your younger sister. You can't just leave her alone, can you? I've noticed that ever since you came back to the Chin family, you've been trying to compete with her for everything. Chin-san's heart grew icy within the confines of this family. She shoved a hand into her pocket, her expression indifferent as she turned to leave. Well, from now on, the Chin family can just pretend they don't have this daughter. Why don't you just kick me out of the Chin family tomorrow? That way, I won't have the opportunity to steal anything from your precious daughter, Chin-soru. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room. Mr. and Mrs. Chin watch her retreating figure with immense displeasure. Only Chin-soru felt a surge of triumph. Her plan had worked. This way, Mr. and Mrs. Chin remained blissfully unaware of Chin-san's first-place win in the recent school-wide competition. The day of the parent-teacher meeting arrived. Countless parents flocked to the school. The red-haired girl walked arm-in-arm with Chin-san down the hallway. I heard your parents don't have time to attend your meeting, she said. A group of students trailing behind Chin-soru seized the opportunity to giggle and whisper amongst themselves. A barrage of criticisms directed at Chin-san echoed through the halls. Everyone knows Chin-san is being kept by someone. Her parents are probably too ashamed to show their faces. No, I heard Chin-san is from the countryside. Her parents are too cheap to come. If that's the case, she's really pathetic. Almost every parent was present for the parent-teacher meeting. Only Chin-san, the unwanted child, had no one. Chin-soru, listening from the sidelines, beamed with smug satisfaction. The red-haired girl, hearing the whispers, immediately rolled up her sleeves, ready to pounce on the gossiping students. What did you just say? Seeing her friend's fiery reaction, Chin-san quickly intervened, holding her back, and said pompously, "Oh, I heard you all got the lowest scores this time. You must want to be just like me, not wanting your parents to come to the parent-teacher meeting, right? But unfortunately, none of you will get your wish." The disrespectful girls, hearing Chin-san speak, were instantly silenced, their faces darkening. The girl with short hair, fuming, clenched her fists and tried to retort. "Chin-san, even if our grades are worse than yours, our character is much better." Chin-san gave a mocking smile. "Oh really? Is that so?" She crossed her arms arrogantly and continued her interrogation. "Then tell me specifically. Let me hear how my character is so terrible. Why don't you take a look at yourselves? Every time you see me, you start gossiping. As far as I'm concerned, that's not the behavior of someone with good character." The short-haired girl, speechless and unable to respond, turned to Chin-soru for help. "Chin-soru, say something. Chin-soru, say something." Chin-soru finally spoke. All right, there's no need to say any more." Putting on a pitiful expression, she launched into her usual act. "Chin-san, don't be so harsh. She's just being enthusiastic, worried that you're being kept by sugar daddy." Chin-san felt a surge of anger. Her face turned icy, a chilling aura surrounding her. "Kept by a sugar daddy? Aha! Chin-soru, you're very clever." Chin-san pointed coldly at the group in front of her. "And all of you, constantly saying I'm being kept. Have you forgotten the principal's orders? The punishment for spreading rumors without proof is severe expulsion. I advise you to control yourselves. You better watch your mouths, or you might find yourselves unexpectedly expelled one day." Chin-san's words had an immediate effect. The girls' faces paled. They covered their mouths, not daring to utter another word. The tense atmosphere was broken by a chorus of excited whispers from down the hall. "Wow, so handsome." The newcomer was Fu Hanchuan. Today, he wore casual clothes that somehow accentuated his striking good looks, captivating every girl in sight. Even Chin-san's pink-haired friend felt her heart flutter. Chin-san, look at that handsome guy. He's so gorgeous." A total cold, aloof heartthrob. "This is the first time I've seen such a handsome man." Chin-san stared, surprised. "It's Mr. Fu? Why is he here?" Fu Hanchuan's presence drew a wave of admiration. "Oh my God, he's so handsome. I bet he's here for the parent-teacher meeting. Maybe he has a younger brother or sister at our school. If you're my boyfriend, I'd wake up laughing from my dreams." The girl next to Chin-soru gushed, then turned to flatter her. "Soru, I think only you are worthy of such a man. A perfect match. You're the only one who can compare to him. Her friend continued excitedly. So, do you think he's here looking for you? Chin Soro blushed, a hopeful flutter in her chest. Could he really be here for me? As Fu Hanchuan approached, Chin Soro, lost in her fantasy, didn't dare look up. Her heart pounded with a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. Fu Hanchuan, mid-stride, found his path blocked. He looked at Chin Soro with annoyance and addressed her curtly. Excuse me, classmate. The short-haired girl next to Chin Soro was certain this handsome newcomer was there for her. Leaning in, she whispered, Soru, he's calling you. Really? Chin Soru switched on her confidence, practically glowing with self-satisfaction. She basked in the attention of the onlookers as she glanced at Fu Hanchuan and asked with feigned familiarity, You're here? Nearby, two girls whispered conspiratorially, Is that gorgeous guy really here for Chin Soru? It must be. I think Chin Soru must be romantically involved with him, one of the gossiping girls declared. Others chimed in, unable to contain their envy. Seriously, Chin Soru is like heaven's favorite. Everything good just falls in her lap. Look at her. Beautiful, top grades, rich family. And now even her boyfriend is top tier. Handsome and wealthy. Just as Chin Soru was reveling in the assumed attention, Fu Hanchuan brushed past her with an air of indifference. His words are like a bucket of ice water. Excuse me, please move. You're in the way. The statement effectively deflated Chin Soru, leaving her wishing for a hole to swallow her whole. Fu Hanchuan then walked towards Chin San, and his voice softened as he called out, San. Chin San greeted him with a smile, then asked curiously, Mr. Fu, why are you here? He reached out and ruffled her hair affectionately. I'm here for your parent-teacher meeting, of course, San. After arriving at the school, Fu Hanchuan had gone straight to Chin San. Catching a faint whiff of candy on her, he leaned in and asked indulgently, San, have you been eating candy? He asked because Chin San always had a pleasant, subtle fragrance about her. Momentarily stunned by his unexpected question, Chin San quickly recovered. She reached into her pocket and began to search. Oh yes, Mr. Fu. Would you like some? Chin San pulled out 2 pieces of candy and offered them to him. Fu Hanchuan looked at the candy in her hand, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. Sanson hadn't had the best care growing up and had suffered from malnutrition, which led to hypoglycemia. And that's how she developed her candy habit. Fu Hanchuan quickly took the candy from Chin San's hand. Thanks, San. Chin San smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners, and gave a small nod. Fu Hanchuan unwrapped the sweet and popped it in his mouth, a vow forming in his mind to make the Feng family pay. After finishing the candy, he headed into the classroom for the parent-teacher meeting. Before entering, he turned back to her with an affectionate look. The candy's delicious, San. I'll see you inside. As he entered, the homeroom teacher turned to him to confirm his relationship to the student. Whose guardian are you? He replied proudly, I'm Chin San's older brother. The pink-haired girl, witnessing this handsome newcomer's connection to her friend, covered her mouth and whispered to Chin San, San, you're amazing. I can't believe you have such a handsome older brother. Chin San simply smiled, offering no explanation. The crowd outside the classroom immediately began buzzing about Fu Hanchuan. The homeroom teacher, handing out the exam results to the parents, announced, This exam was quite challenging, but everyone's scores have improved significantly compared to last time, especially Chin San. She achieved the highest score in the class, with perfect marks in every subject. Fu Hanchuan, holding Chin San's results, swelled with pride. Looks like my girl is quite brilliant. Some parents turned to him and started conversations. You're Chin San's brother, right? Could you share how she studies at home? We'd love to learn from your methods. Seeing everyone's attention focused on his future wife, Fu Hanchuan puffed up with pride and began to embellish, bragging about her. It's all talent and hard work. My little sister just locks herself in her room to study after she gets home. He put on an air of smug satisfaction, leaving the other parents speechless. Chin San, standing outside the door, nearly fainted. Lock myself in my room to study? When? Mr. Fu seems to have some misunderstandings about me. Meanwhile, in another classroom, Chin Soru's mother, dressed impeccably, arrived for the parent-teacher meeting. Seeing her, several parents flocked around her, showering her with compliments. Ah, Soru's mother is here. Your Soru is so talented, always at the top of her class. Truly, I wouldn't know how to raise such a beautiful and intelligent daughter. A man approached and asked, Soru's mother, you must supervise her studies closely at home, right? Chin Soru's mother beamed, her eyes crinkling with pride. It's all Soru's own effort. I'll just offer her some simple guidance. Good grades aren't just about hard work, but also talent. Her gaze swept over the other parents as she continued, her voice laced with subtle barbs. Without talent, no matter how hard you try, you can't achieve high scores on these exams. The other parents, picking up on her thinly veiled insults, exchanged uncomfortable glances. Isn't she just subtly referring to my daughter? Implying that no matter how much she studies, she won't achieve anything. The other parents' goodwill towards Chin Soru's mother evaporated. Each silently fumed. So what if her daughter's scores are high? My child's scores aren't so bad as to deserve such criticism. The parents dispersed, no longer wanting anything to do with Chin Soru's mother. Just getting into the top 10, what's so great about that? The exam scores haven't even been officially released. It's still uncertain who's higher and who's lower. Teacher Liang Hua, clutching the exam results, walked out and reminded the parents, is it time already? Why are you all still standing here? Please return to your seats so we can begin the meeting. Chin Soru's mother hurried over, brimming with anticipation, and asked, Teacher Liang, I'd like to ask about Soru's performance on this exam. Teacher Liang Hua's face darkened. Still smarting from the incident where Class 4 had outperformed hers, she snapped, you still have a nerve to ask? Chin, Soru dropped from the top 3 to 11th place. Do you think that a good result? The university entrance exam is crucial, so parents should pay more attention. At home, remember to encourage your children to study hard. Don't rely on me for everything. Teacher Liang Hua waved her hand dismissively. All right, go back to your seat. The parent-teacher meeting is about to start. Don't waste the other parents' time. Chin Soru's mother, after a moment of stunned disbelief, felt utterly humiliated. She wanted the earth to swallow her whole. The parents she had previously insinuated against were now relishing her embarrassment. They whispered amongst themselves, oh my, someone's daughter only managed 11th place, and she was acting so superior. My son placed 4th. Does that mean I have the right to look down on someone now? Exactly. Someone's always acting like her daughter is the best. She doesn't even look at her own standing. Chin Soru's mother's face turned green as she listened to the gossip. She didn't dare look anyone in the eye. Seething, she muttered, how dare they look down on me? Soru dropping out of the top 10 and not even telling me beforehand. I've lost so much face. After school, Chin Soru's mother pulled Soru aside and interrogated her angrily. Soru, what happened? Why did you only get 11th place on this exam? Chin Soru was prepared. Putting on a pitiful expression, she said, Mom, you know I had a cold that day. While I was taking the exam, I suddenly felt very dizzy. Chin Soru clutched her face, tears welling up as she apologized. I'm sorry, Mom. Whatever the reason, it's because I didn't do well. Chin Soru's mother was immediately taken in by this act and quickly forgave her, pulling her into a comforting hug. It's okay, Soru. This time you failed, but you failed. Just remember to do better next time. Yes, Mom. I'll do better next time. Chin Soru's mother regained her composure, patted her shoulder, and praised her. I believe you're much better than that Chin-san girl. No matter what, you still did better than Chin-san. Hearing this, Chin Soru panicked inwardly. She dreaded the news of Chin-san placing first, reaching her mother. But as if her fears had summoned it, 2 parents from Class 4, walking by after school, were discussing animatedly. This time, the top student isn't Su Xuanyu, but Chin-san from Class 4. This is unbelievable, someone muttered, and Chin Soru's face paled. Her eyes darted towards her mother, panic rising in her chest. This was bad. The news of Chin-san topping the class was about to reach her mother's ears. Mrs. Chin, having overheard the parents' gossip, felt her own face drain of color. She turned and grabbed Chin Soru's hand, her voice sharp. Soru, is it true? Did Chin-san really get first place? Chin Soru, knowing she couldn't hide it any longer, whispered a fearful, yes, mother. The confirmation hit Mrs. Chin like a bolt of lightning. Her face a mask of disbelief. She stammered, how is that possible? Quick as a flash, Chin Soru concocted a lie. Putting on her most innocent expression, she said, during the exam, we were in the same room. Sister kept looking down. It seemed unusual, but she's my sister, so I didn't want to tell the teacher. Chin Soru thought she'd successfully navigated the situation, but her mother's next words stopped her cold. yelled. Soru, your classroom has cameras, doesn't it? Come on, let's go report her. Panic flared hotter than ever in Chin Soru's chest. Terrified of her lie being exposed, she desperately grasped at straws. No, mother, we can't. If sister is caught cheating, won't it damage the Chin family's reputation? Putting on a facade of naive concern, she clung to her mother's arm. Mrs. Chin paused, considering her daughter's words. There was logic there. Relenting, she flicked Chin Soru's forehead affectionately. Soru, I know you're thinking of your sister, she said, her voice dripping with fondness, but she certainly won't appreciate it. So if this happens again, don't be so forgiving. If she cheats again, tell the teacher. Yes, mother. Let's go home, Chin Soru replied, leaning against her mother, successfully concealing her deception. But as they reached the school gates, they saw Chin Sin being picked up by Fu Hanchuan. He was even holding the car door open for her. Mrs. Chin, arms crossed, scowled. Disgraceful. So young and already dating. She hasn't even experienced the world, comes to the big city, and starts imitating those shameless women. Chin-san, hearing her mother's venomous words, felt a chill deeper than any she'd ever known. She shot a frigid glance at Mrs. Chin, then turned and climbed into Fu Hanchuan's car. Let's go, she said decisively. Fu Hanchuan radiated an icy aura, his face a mask of displeasure as he glared at the woman who dared to call herself Chin-san's mother. Mrs. Chin, undeterred, continued her tirade. How could I have given birth to such a child? She treats me like I'm invisible. Fu Hanchuan's jaw tightened. He revved the engine, sending a cloud of exhaust fumes billowing towards Mrs. Chin and Chin Soru, effectively silencing them. As the car carrying Chin-san disappeared, Mrs. Chin felt a surge of resentment. Chin-san wasn't even a fraction as good as Chin Soru. She turned and beamed at her favored daughter, stroking her hair. Soru, I'm so lucky to have you. Basking in her mother's affection, Chin Soru smiled brightly, a triumphant sneer forming in her mind. Chin-san, you'll never be as good as me in mother's eyes. After taking Chin-san out for dinner, Fu Hanchuan, as usual, drove her back to the Chin family home. Before saying goodbye, he handed her a pink bag. A doting voice rang out. Chin-san, have some candy. Chin-san happily accepted. She noticed the bag was filled with her favorite candies. She hadn't realized he'd been so attentive. Thank you, Mr. Fu, she said, popping a candy into her mouth. All her previous frustration seemed to melt away, replaced by a sweet, sugary bliss. She cupped her cheek, a sweet smile playing on her lips. It's delicious. Thank you, Mr. Fu. Seeing her happy expression brought a smile to his own face. He gently stroked her hair with a warm hand, his gaze unwavering and full of affection. As long as you like it, he murmured, his eyes locked on hers. But Chin-san hadn't arrived. Teacher Liang Hua seized the opportunity to assert her authority. She slammed a stack of papers onto the desk and demanded loudly, "Where is Chin-san?" Late again. Such a student. No sense of responsibility. Faced with Teacher Liang Hua's overbearing attitude, the students of class 4 remained silent. 5 minutes later, Chin-san arrived. She stood at the doorway and calmly announced, "I'm here." Teacher Liang Hua's face flushed with anger. Chin-san, she snapped, "You're 5 minutes late. Don't think that just because you're ranked first, you could get away with this." Chin-san stood in the doorway, her gaze steady and unreadable as she looked at Teacher Liang Hua. She remained silent, infuriated by her perceived defiance. The teacher slammed her hand on the desk again. "With that attitude," she scolded, "you show no respect for your elders. Next time, you won't be so lucky." "Fine, Chin-san. It seems you don't want to be in this class anymore. Is that right? Stand outside." Teacher Liang Hua waited expectantly, thinking, if you don't want to stand outside, then beg me. But contrary to her expectations, Chin-san turned and left the classroom without a word. The teacher watched her go, fuming, but unable to do anything. A student with red hair stood up, protesting, "Teacher, I was late too. If Chin-san has to stand outside, then I shouldn't be in class either." Seeing this defiance, Teacher Liang Hua pointed a finger and yelled, "Oh, so you want to join her? Get out." Her behavior sparked discontent among the students of Class 4. Chin-san's deskmate also stood up, raising a hand. "Teacher, I was late too." Then a multitude of hands shot up. "Teacher, me too. Me too." Another boy couldn't help but chime in. "But teacher, weren't you late too?" For the first time in her life, Teacher Liang Hua faced such widespread opposition. She trembled with rage. You're rebelling, aren't you? Class 4. Are you all disobeying me? Looking at the indifferent faces of Class 4, Teacher Liang Hua was consumed by fury. Fine, a worthless class like this. Who else would teach you besides me? Don't come begging me to come back. With that, she grabbed her teaching materials and stormed out. The classroom erupted in excited chatter, deliberately loud enough for Teacher Liang Hua to hear. That old witch is finally gone. Qin-sen leaned against the window, watching Teacher Liang Hua's face alternating between green and red as she stalked past. A faint, mocking smile played on her lips. Seeing Lu Ming's continued silence, Fu Hanchuan, understanding his cousin perfectly, tossed in the car keys. Take it and go, he said. Lu Ming's face lit up like a Christmas tree. Overjoyed, he clutched the keys as if afraid Fu Hanchuan might change his mind. Whoa, the fancy car keys. It seems sister-in-law is really important to you, brother. Having gotten what he wanted, Lu Ming quickly recounted the day's events at school. Brother, do you know Yang Hua, Qin-san's English teacher? She's always antagonizing sister-in-law at school. Last time, sister-in-law was clearly in the right, but that woman even tried to frame her for cheating. Fu Hanchuan's eyes darkened. Accused Qin-san of cheating? He asked, his voice chilling. Sensing the growing menace radiating from his cousin, Lu Ming quickly backpedaled. Ah, brother, that's all been resolved. Sister-in-law proved her innocence and even made Liang Hua apologize in front of the whole school. He twirled the keys around his finger. Then sister-in-law got punished for being late, but everyone in the class stood up for her, which made Liang Hua so mad she ran to the administration office to complain. She even said she'd never teach English to Class 4 again. But, you know, Class 4 is the worst class, so I doubt anyone else will want to teach them English anyway. Fu Hanchuan stroked his chin, lost in thought, seemingly calculating something. After hearing the whole story, he abruptly stood up and snatched the car keys from Lu Ming's hand, leaving his cousin stunned. What's wrong, brother? Fu Hanchuan's face was grim. Lu Ming, you haven't even told me the full story about Qin-san being falsely accused of cheating. I haven't even settled the score with you for that yet, he said. And you think you're getting the car? Dream on. Lu Ming slumped onto the sofa, devastated. Wow, my car. Meanwhile, Fu Hanchuan, enraged that someone dared to wrong his beloved wife, quickly grabbed his phone and contacted his subordinate. Assistant Lin, investigate Liang Hua from Haiqing City High School immediately. I want all the information on her. The sooner, the better. He continued, his voice laced with authority. Also, I want to join Haiqing City High School as an English teacher for classes 3 and 4. Arrange it. Assistant Lin worked with remarkable efficiency. In less than a day, he had fulfilled Fu Hanchuan's demands. The next day, a notice about the new incoming teacher was posted on the bulletin board at Qin-san School. Countless students, seeing the announcement, whispered amongst themselves. Wow, Class 4 is getting a new English teacher. They're so lucky. I heard he's a young teacher who graduated from Daida University. Oh, really? I'm so envious. Meanwhile, Liang Hua's face was thunderous. How do they find a new teacher so fast? Which idiot would agree to teach such a terrible class? As she stormed back to the staff room to inquire about the situation, she overheard voices from inside. Haha, this is hilarious. Liang Hua actually thought no one would teach Class 4 after she left. Inside, a female and a male teacher were in heated discussion. I can't believe a Daida University graduate came here looking for a job. This is such a satisfying slap in the face. The male teacher chimed in. Tell me about it. Liang Hua thinks she's so great. If she didn't have connections, Ms. Chun would have the position of homeroom teacher for Class 1 already. Furious, Liang Hua flung open the door and jabbed her finger accusingly at the two teachers inside. Li Wenla, Chen Shuyu, she roared. You're all just the same, a bunch of gossiping, two-faced women. Ms. Chen stood up, her voice laced with disgust. Since we're laying our cards on the table, I'll be blunt. I've loathed you for a long time. If you want to find someone to back you up against me, go ahead, do your worst. I don't even want this job anymore. Mr. Li, equally resolute, chimed in. Liang Hua, I'm with Dai Li on this. Do whatever you want us. Blinded by rage, Liang Hua revealed her weakness. Just you wait. I'll have Principal Zhu take care of you. The mention of Principal Zhu's name sent a jolt of shock through both Mr. Li and Ms. Chun. Principal Zhu? Ms. Chun asked sharply, her eyes narrowing. Are you talking about Principal Zhu Sheng, the head of the Academic Affairs Office? Realizing her slip-up, Liang Hua clapped a hand over her mouth, backpedaling furiously. No, it wasn't him. But her expression betrayed her lie. Ms. Chun let out a short, humorless laugh, relishing the upper hand she now held over the haughty Lianghua. Don't bother denying it. Your reaction says it all. But I'm curious about one thing. Principal Zhu is married, isn't he? Are you his mistress? Mr. Li, emboldened, pressed the attack. Lianghua, if you're his mistress, we'll report you to his wife. When she makes a fuss, both you and Principal Zhu will be fired. Lianghua now understood why the sea was salty. Fear, cold and clammy, gripped her as her secret was laid bare. You, she stammered, the air thick with tension. Just then, Ms. Lin pushed open the door. Sensing the strange atmosphere, she asked, "What's going on here?" Mr. Li and Ms. Chun rushed towards Ms. Lin, eager to mend bridges. "Ms. Lin, we're truly sorry. We were wrong before. We won't mock you again." "Yes, Ms. Lin," Mr. Li added. "We were blinded. We won't praise incompetent teachers like, well, anymore." Watching the three of them unite, Lianghua crumpled the paper in her hand, her fury simmering. She blamed everything on Qing-san. "Qing-san, just you wait," she seethed. Moments later, the bell rang, signaling the start of class. Whispers drifted from class 4. "I heard our new English teacher graduated from Didu University. He's here. He's coming." Fu Hanchuan, impeccably dressed, strode into the classroom. He stood at the podium, his presence commanding. "Hello, everyone. My surname is Fu. You can call me Mr. Fu." The class was instantly captivated by his handsome features. "Wow, oh my God, am I dreaming? Is he really not a celebrity? How could someone be this good-looking?" With a gentle smile directed solely at Qing-san, he announced, "The top scorer on this exam will be the English class representative." Qing-san, hearing her name, looked up, a mixture of surprise and disbelief in her eyes. "Mr. Fu," she thought. "What is he doing here?" Her deskmate, eyes sparkling with admiration, seemed to echo her thoughts. "Zan," her friend whispered, "I bet he's definitely here because of you. Your brother really loves you. I wish I had a brother just like him." Qin-zan's face flushed slightly, her heart beating faster than ever. "He came here on purpose for me?" she wondered. Deputy Fu Hanxian walked down the aisle, handing out test papers to the two students in the front row, instructing them to pass them back to the rest of the class. "First, we'll have a small test to gauge everyone's level," he announced. He walked slowly towards where Qin-zan was sitting. Seeing him approach, she suddenly felt nervous, sitting up straight. As he passed by, he leaned down and whispered, "Zan, come to my office after class." She blushed, softly replying, "Okay." The class ended quickly. Zan followed Han to Fu Hanchuan's office. He thoughtfully made her a cup of tea. "Zan, have some tea," he offered. Qin-zan accepted the cup, her hand tightening around it. Unable to contain her curiosity, she asked, "Deputy Fu, why did you come to teach here?" She remembered that in her past life, he hadn't become a teacher at Ha City High School. He leaned down, gazing at her with deep affection. "Because of you," he replied. Qin-zan was surprised by his directness. She stammered, "Be because of me?" He gently stroked her hair, his voice tender, a tenderness reserved only for her. "I don't want my Zan to be bullied at school, so I came here." His words warmed her usually cold heart. She smiled happily. "Thank you, Deputy Fu." Even if everyone else in the world treated her poorly, Deputy Fu and sixth uncle treated her with genuine kindness. He smiled warmly. "What's there to thank me for?" "Zan, remember, you still have me. If you're bullied, don't suffer in silence, okay?" She looked up at him, her eyes wide and innocent, filled with gratitude. "Yes, I understand." As if remembering something important, he suddenly asked, "Oh, right, is the list for the youth painting competition out yet?" She leaned back in her chair, a hopeful look in her eyes. "It should be out tonight." The scene shifted to the Qin family home. It was evening. At the dinner table, Mother Qin kept piling food onto Qin Nu's plate. "Newer, after tonight, you'll be qualified to participate in the youth painting competition. Congratulations in advance. Eat this." Although Qin Nu felt smug, she maintained a facade of innocent sweetness. "Mom, the results aren't out yet." Mother Qin was extremely confident in Qin Nu. "You're a student of Qi Wunshe, one of the best painting masters in the country. If you can't participate, who in Ha City can?" Father Qin chimed in, "Newer, if you win the award this time, I'll give you a reward when you get back." Qin Nu replied confidently, "Thank you, Mom and Dad." Just then, Qin Nu's phone rang with the results. She answered with great excitement. "Hello?" Mother Qin eagerly asked, "Well, are you first place?" Contrary to the family's expectations, Qin Nu's face suddenly paled when she heard the results. First place didn't belong to her. She clenched her fist, thinking first place is Sheng. But who is Sheng? The full story up to the latest chapter ends here. While waiting for the new part, don't forget to check out other equally good stories that Hai has posted on the channel. Thank you very much.